One of our favorite sponsors is back with us, Sunset Lake CBD.
Yeah.
If you're looking for CBD that actually does what CBD is supposed to do, look no further than our friends over at Sunset Lake.
Let me break it down.
Break it down, Mel.
They're sustainably farmed, meaning they avoid pesticides and use sustainable farming practices to preserve the land for future generations. 1. 2, farm to table. They ship the CBD products straight from their door in Vermont directly to your door wherever you're at.
Now that's cool.
And third party tested. They test everything with a third party to ensure quality, dosage, and safety.
You got to go over and check out sunsetlakecbd.com. They have so many products. Break it down for them, Apple.
Well, they've got some new stuff going on. Like they always had pre-rolls, but now they got really cool packaging for it. And you can get CBD pre-roll flights of all their flavors. You can get the heavy hitter flight that also throws in some of their Keef blunts. They have a new CBD recovery body lotion.
I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other?
The other one with arnica.
The extra strength muscle rub, 3,000 milligram with 5% lidocaine.
So look,
Oh, yeah,
if you're
lidocaine.
sore, this is the stuff you want to rub on your body to make those aches and pains go away. They even have CBD infused coffee, so you can have coffee without the little jitter that you get from caffeine, and you have it in the morning and you start your day off right. Your body feels lubricated. You're going to sleep good.
Yeah, and also they have, if you kind of forget to reorder, they've got subscriptions.
And they're giving the No Simple Road family 20% off.
20% off.
Put
with
in the promo code NSR20 when you're checking out at sunsetlakecbd.com. You're going to get 20% off your entire order.
NSR20.
And don't forget those cute little gummy bears.
That's right. sunsetlakecbd.com. One of our favorite sponsors is back. This episode of No Simple Road is sponsored by BetterHelp.com.
Wow, BetterHelp. I am so excited that this is our sponsor.
I am too. Like, check it out, you guys. If you're out there and you're having one of those days, weeks, months, or years where you don't feel like getting out of bed,
Or even lifetimes.
you don't fucking get dressed, you're wearing sweatpants all day long, you haven't brushed your hair in a week, you don't feel like you're moving forward, or you're quickly going backward, go check out our sponsor, BetterHelp. They are amazing, and they have therapists available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help you get your shit straightened out. You can start communicating with a therapist in under 48 hours, and you can connect in a safe and private online environment. It's super convenient. Mel,
Yes.
you just signed up for this thing.
I did. Our fantastic sponsors have given us an opportunity to try out BetterHelp. And honestly, within 24 hours, I had already found and picked a therapist. And you pick them.
That's really cool.
It's amazing that mine happens to be in Portland, so I don't know if they match you up with somebody that's in your hometown or not. I didn't, I don't know that part, but he gave me this whole entire personal message, and I felt super comfortable. And to be honest, at first I thought, how am I going to connect over the computer? But that's just me, my age. You know?
you can do this over video.
Yeah.
You can do it just with a phone call. This is not a crisis line. It's not a self-help line.
Nope.
What it is professional counseling done securely online. You can send a message to your counselor anytime, and they got people that'll help you with depression, stress, anxiety, relationships, sleeping problems.
Yeah, he sent a link of all the, not a link, but a list of all the things that he specialized in. So many things: family issues, marriage issues, things like that.
So if you want to start living a happier life today as a listener of No Simple Road, you're going to get 10% off your first month by visiting BetterHelp at betterhelp.com/No Simple Road. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/No Simple Road. Take care of your head. It's important.
Have you ever listened to Howlin Rain?
Out of a cloud?
That you got at Electric Fish Lights.
Well, you absolutely can. Shit. You should.
You should.
You really should.
Yeah.
Go to electricfishlights.com and check out the amazing IQ technology lights that they are hooking up for you and the No Simple Road family over there. These are upcycled vinyl, which is recycled milk jug plastic, basically. And these are like 30 interlocking pieces. You put them together in 15 different shapes, and they can configure them into a cloud, a rainbow, a bunny rabbit.
Any of your favorite cartoon characters.
Your favorite sports teams. They're licensed for all of the NFL, NBA, baseball, hockey, And look, let's be honest. The holidays are upon us. We are here. Like Thanksgiving. I was going to say Thanksgiving. Anyway, Thanksgiving is right here.
Yeah.
And you know what comes right after that?
Christmas,
Kwanzaa, Hanukkah.
Yeah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah.
So go get your Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa presents over at electricfishlights.com. And if you're in the No Simple Road family, and you are because you're listening to the show, when you check out, put in the promo code NSR, you're going to get 25% off your purchase.
25.
That's pretty dope.
And you're going to get special magic in your box. We don't
Delaware
know what it's gonna
magic.
be. We don't know.
It's a surprise to us, too.
It could be gum. It could be
A
trading
t-shirt.
cards. It could be $1,000.
A jump rope.
A t-shirt.
You never know.
A fabulous flag. Who knows?
See,
I
now they're
don't
making
know.
it fun.
So put in that promo code and enlighten your life. This episode of No Simple Road is sponsored by
ShopTourbus.
Shop Tour Bus.
Go to Shop Tour Bus and check out the online lot's most dopest t-shirts, hoodies, what else?
Stickers, tote bags,
Those
kids'
5-panel
clothes.
trucker hats.
Yeah, the 5-panel trucker hats are, I'm going to say this. Anytime I post a picture of myself wearing my Steal Your Tape hat, I get comments and DMs asking where I got it. Well, if you're listening to the show, guess what? It's at Shop Tour Bus on Instagram or shoptourbus.com online. Go check all of the Grateful Dead inspired designs they got over there, and they have the highest quality t-shirts and hoodies, and all their stuff is dope and sustainable. And you know what? They are part of the No Simple Road family, and they're giving you 10%. Or no, I'm sorry. They're not giving you 10% off. They're giving you free shipping.
Free
I don't
shipping.
know what the hell I'm saying anymore. Put in the promo code No Simple Road when you check
No
out.
Simple Road.
It's going to come
gals.
to you in a hand-designed box with a Grateful Dead lyric on the inside, a bunch of extras in there. There's going to be gum, maybe candy. There could be a little figurine, Jerry hand with the finger cut off. You don't know what's going to be in there. And some of you are going to get a real live bootleg. So check it out. Go to shoptourbus.com. Check out the designs. Pick one out. Send it to your friend for Christmas, or send one to yourself for Christmas, or just get one for whatever. Check
For
it
the
out.
heck of it.
Shoptourbus.com.
This episode is brought to you by Define Premium Cannabis.
That's what they said.
That's what we said.
That is what we said. So if you are up here in the Portland area, we have 2 locations, one in Hillsboro where I hang out, and one in Forest Grove. If you come out, this is a very complicated world of cannabis nowadays. Our goal is to take our time with you, find what you need for whatever your element is, and send you out the door packing a goodie bag with a big smile on your face.
And the smile is not because you're high. It's because you got 10% off your purchase because you told them you were part of the No Simple Road family, and your first trip in, you got a free t-shirt. So you got your edibles or your flour or your whatever you needed to get yourself medicated and taken care of.
Might have met Apple.
Yep, you might have met Apple, and you got clothes. So go check out Define in Hillsboro or Forest Grove.
Hey everyone, Chris Pandolfi from the infamous String Dusters here to let you know that my podcast, Inside the Musician's Brain, is back on the airwaves for Season 4, which means it's time once again to get deep with influential musicians from all across the musical landscape to really understand and translate the lessons of success, failure, inspiration, and hard work that are behind the music and the artists that we love. My guests this season include Rachel Price from Lake Street Dives, Sam Bush, Chris Wood, Chris Funk from The Decemberists, Lindsay Liu, MC Taylor from His Golden Messenger, and more. Check us out, and thanks for listening.
We're so excited to tell you a bit about today's sponsor, Music Masters Collective. They are a nonprofit organization that produces unique music events, providing opportunities for fans and artists to meet and collaborate in an inspired and creative atmosphere.
Music Masters Collective events give you the opportunity to learn from world-class musicians like Otil Burbridge, Steve Earle, Richard Thompson, former members of the band, the Milk Carton Kids, Nikki Glaspie, the Fab Four, and Sean Colvin, and so many more.
At an event like the Milk Carton Kids Sad Song Summer Camp happening this July, you can expect immersive classes, evenings of entertainment, excellent food, and a space for a lucky group of folks to learn, co-write, workshop, and perform with like-minded peers, all with the guidance of Kenneth Pattengale, Joey Ryan, and some of their favorite songwriters. This all-inclusive week in the Catskill Mountains of upstate New York is guaranteed to be magical. Scholarships are available and spots are extremely limited, so visit www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple to learn more. That's www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple. Check it out.
No simple road. No simple road. No simple road. No simple road.
I'm going to count down from 5. Ready? 5, 4. Hi.
Say now?
Now, go.
Wait,
Talk now?
Right now?
Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
This is Aaron.
Mel.
and Apple.
And Darwin came in here when we started recording, and Apple has his cup of tea with the ice cubes that are super loud in it next to his chair. And Darwin went over and started drinking tea out of Apple's cup when Apple wasn't looking.
Yeah, he just helped himself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. I share with Darwin, but that was
gross.
just funny
You're gonna
and
have worms
gross.
now. Hey, everybody, guess what? This week on the show, we are so stoked to have the one, the only, Ethan Miller as our guest from Howlin Rain.
And he's back on the show.
Yeah.
That's true.
We love him so much. We had him back on the show, and he agreed and wanted to be with us. That, to me, means so much to me.
Two
Because
Howlin Rains in one.
I always feel like we're very fortunate to get any amount of time from these musicians. So to get double time from them is really special, especially from Ethan, because that man is so passionate when he's on stage.
That's a great word for Ethan. Passionate.
Yeah, not just that there, like in real life, like he's just got such a wonderful,
This is a big,
wonderful.
This is a 50 cent word I'm going to use for him. He is erudite.
Okay.
And this is a deep thinking guy.
So deep and
really, really intelligent. And it does absolutely come through in Howlin Rain's music. If you don't know who they are, go check it out. Go dig. They've been around for a really long time, and they've put out a litany of albums. They actually just released a new album on Mel's birthday on October 8th.
October 8th.
Yeah.
The Dharma Wheel came out, and this album is, I don't know how to say this. It's different than the other Howlin Rain stuff. You could still tell it's Howlin Rain for sure.
Yep.
But this is a little bit more Howlin Rainy. I don't know how else to say it.
It's more howling and more rainy.
Well, it's more of it. So say like, here I am, and then you go, and here's more of me.
Yeah, true. We get into it in the conversation with Ethan, but the quarantine and all that was a pressure cooker and incubator for the creative force that flows through these guys. And Ethan was no exception.
One of my quotes that I have from the conversation was, "Look how well we've done. Also, look how terrible we've done."
Ooh, yeah. This
was pretty deep.
This was super cool.
That's what I mean about Ethan. He's so like you said, he's deep and but also sweet and lighthearted.
And he owns the beard that I aspire to. He does.
Well, that's what's great about there was learning in this. There's a lot of laughter and smiles. And like you were saying, this is his second time on. I love it. We're starting to have repeat guests, and that means they enjoyed themselves.
That's
They're
true.
coming back on. That makes me feel good, like they're coming back on.
Ethan holds a place in prominence in the canon of No Simple Road interviews in that he was the first live interview we ever did in our hometown.
And
Mississippi studio.
if you don't recall, babe, exactly what you were talking about in our last episode that we released with Andy Frasco, wanting to be doing a podcast with a musician before they go on.
Oh yeah.
And that was an instance of us doing that.
Well, we
And-
weren't doing it in front of anybody, but that I get what you're coming
but
from.
it was the beginnings of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's as close as we could have gotten.
Yeah.
like literally
the
like
band was in there
a
getting
few
ready.
feet. Yeah.
They were like getting ready, and we were doing the interview as they were getting ready to go take the stage.
And I just think like pretend like if one of us
I'm pretending now.
one of us was the camera person and we would have like kind of recorded that that would have been a pinnacle moment
Yeah,
for
definitely.
for No Simple Road. We were like, you know, the thing with like people like Ethan, he's being around him, he's got such a strong
magnetic field.
magnetism, exactly. Certain celebrities have that, certain like models, certain regular ordinary people have that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a real thing. And so here we are, so like wet behind the ears as a podcast and doing this and meeting a hero. And, you know, he's got this magnetism and we're in this place where like validated that we're, you know, we got upstairs to, you know, it was just
And
a really great moment.
In no small part, we have to stop and say a heartfelt thank you to Kevin Calabro.
Oh,
Yes, Kevin.
Kevin.
You know,
He's been a supporter.
Yeah, just been in our corner since the jump. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Since the very beginning.
this interview with Ethan wouldn't have happened without him, the first one or this one. We would have never met Neil Casal without him.
Just a lot.
Yeah,
We would have never
circles
interviewed
guys.
Kevin.
Yeah, we would have never interviewed Kevin. So Kevin,
That was fun too. Man.
if you're listening, man, I hope you know how much we appreciate you, love you, and can't wait till we can finally shake hands and give you a hug in person someday
Yeah.
when we're out on the East Coast. You never know what the future holds.
That's
but
true.
we love you, man, and all of you out there as well. So, you know, the format of No Simple Road has changed recently. We do a short little intro, get you to the conversation, and then on the back end, we do our No Simple Road hangout thing. So make sure you stick around after the conversation with Ethan for the three of us shooting the shit and giving you a little review of the Sci-Fi Soldier in Vegas, fish shows, and Eugene, and everything that went down with us in the past few weeks. So, yeah. Anybody else have anything before we get to the
I was just going to say,
business?
if you're lucky enough to be living on the West Coast in California, they've just got it. Howlin Rain has a few shows announced right now. December 9th in Felton, December 10th in Venice, California,
Nice.
and December 11th in Pioneer Town, California.
Hell yeah. So, yeah, if you're in any of those places in California, do not sleep on this. Go check them out live. This is definitely one of those that you need to go see. I'm just going to say this. When I saw them, I understood why the name of the band is the name of the band. It is, they are aptly named. So just go check it out and then hit me up afterwards and let me know what you thought.
I got to add one more thing. Plus, during this, as Mel takes notes, and she drew one of the coolest portraits ever, which she does once in a while when we're interviewing an artist.
I'll post it on the Instagram this week.
Yeah.
No, that I was going to say that's up
You
to
know-
Mel.
Yeah. No, I just had a thought, and that's not for
Public consumption.
not now.
I just like
Okay.
that Mel was inspired enough to draw this bitchin' picture.
Yeah.
That he's
I
he's
appreciate
an
that, Apple.
inspiration. Ethan
He-
is, and the
you
whole
are.
band.
You're very inspiring, Ethan. Just by being normal, you were just like, you know, doing yard work and just being chill. You know, super cool. No big deal. It's just what you've done for us, like as a group, as No Simple Road. You've given us this certain like amazing feeling
And the music that you've gifted us with too.
Yeah, and so we just hope that you take it that way and just know that we love you and we're on your corner.
Yeah. So, hey, everybody, we're going to get you to the interview, but
Or
first,
in your corner, right?
yeah, in your corner.
In your corner.
What did you say?
I said on it.
You could be on the corner too. That's different though.
Yeah, that's a whole
I
different.
meant to say we're
Ethan,
in
you're not
your
on
corner.
the corner.
That's,
No, we're not on the corner either.
wow.
Anyway, follow No Simple Road on all the social media platforms at No Simple Road. Excuse me, I'm going to clear my throat. Yeah, there we
At
go.
No Simple Road.
Go
and
to www.nosimpleroad.com and sign up for the newsletter. Get yourself some No Simple Road merch. There's hoodies, t-shirts, fanny packs, coloring books. No,
That would
coffee
be so
cups.
fun.
That would be fun.
Coloring book of your art.
There may be.
That would be dope.
Doing it.
Anyway, that's not there now, but maybe in the future. Go get a coffee cup though, because it's warm drink season. Nothing better than a warm drink in a No Simple Road mug. Yeah. And also make sure to go to patreon.com/No Simple Road. And I would be remiss if I didn't call out our new Patreon subscriber.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I don't have it pulled up.
That's right.
and
We
I'm
do have a new
vamping.
Patreon subscriber this week.
We had one
Yes.
last week.
Jill.
Yeah.
Jill B signed up for a cute $1 every month.
Jill.
Jill
thank you.
B.
Aw,
We speak your name, Jill B. No, Jill, you know what?
I knew a Jilly Bean.
That's what the first thing I thought of. Anyway, it's like Jelly Bean.
Mhm.
Right,
Jill,
heard that
I want
one.
to tell you something. $1 means so much to us. It means that you cared enough to put down 4 quarters every month to make sure that we can keep doing what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that means the world
You know
to
what?
Mel, Apple, I, and Darwin.
It
Yeah,
means,
absolutely.
It means to me that you're thinking about us, and you have to think about us every month, and that's freaking sweet to me.
Yeah. And you know
that
what?
you even listen to the show that much that you feel like you want to do that.
And it's not even about the amount. It's like Mel said, it's the fact that you thought about us. So if you out there, not Jill B, are thinking about us and, it's the holiday season, I'm going to do the in the
Aw.
arms of the angel thing, it's
Oh
the
my
holidays.
gosh.
We could really use your help, you guys. We need to keep the lights on over here. We got big things coming next year and we need your help to get there. So go to patreon.com/No Simple Road. That's how we pay for everything around here. Okay?
Yeah.
Do us
Okay.
a solid. If you want to do something that doesn't cost anything, you can go on Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. Apple, help us out. I
Oh,
heard through the grapevine.
Did you hear that we got a review this week?
I did.
This is a really beautiful review.
What's it say, Santa Claus? Put on
is
your reading
Yeah,
glasses.
let me put on my
You
Santa
old fart.
glasses here. And this is from Crazy Mustache 37.
Okay.
First of all, 5-star review. Safe Space is the title. Anyone who enjoys music in general, not only but especially Fish, Grateful Dead, you need to give a listen. Pure joy radiates from this podcast. Absolute love and light pours out of my ear holes when I listen. Love that. I'm only 20. Been going to fish at the gorge for 10 years, which that's
What?
awesome. And I was lucky enough to meet these guys in August. Been listening to them at work every day. Love hearing from amazing artists and people who are passionate about making them known and loved. Dude, thank you so much,
Wow.
Crazy Mustache 37.
Crazy mustache.
Reach out to us
37.
when you hear this. I mean, we're trying to figure out, when we met
Yeah,
you
send us
at
a
the
picture.
gorge. We're thinking of who had a crazy mustache, but that's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's very
including
common.
us.
Could just be a handle, and
It
homie
could.
has no mustache. Could be a girl.
Yeah.
You don't know.
true.
That's absolutely true.
So,
but
anyway.
thank you so much for doing
Yeah.
that.
Well, I love them because of what they're saying, like what their perspective is. We are passionate about like Grant Livingstons and the Ethan Millers and
Nick Clark's.
yeah, man.
And Fish and the
all-
Grateful Dead.
Exactly. They're all deserve their time on No Simple Road
And in the sun,
and in the sunshine.
because that's how things grow. And you know what? Speaking of growing, you know what's growing?
What?
People calling 971-808-1524.
Whoa.
You know what that number is? That's the No Simple Road Tepid line.
Tepid.
So check this out. There's no rules for the Tepid line, y'all. You can call and do anything you want. I mean, within reason.
Tell a joke, leave a recipe, tell a story,
Ask us a
trip report.
question, something you've always wanted to ask. All of us or one of us, you can do that. Somebody did something very unique. Don't know who it was. This is so cool. And I'm going to play it for you here in just a second. All right. I got my shit together. Here we go. And somebody called in from the show.
Okay.
Uh,
So fucking dope. Whoever you are, you're amazing. Thank you for doing that.
Brought us into the show.
Yeah, I've said that before. Like if you're high at a show and you remember and think about us, just call the number and hit record. There it is, man. And
to hear Adam,
it's so perfect. Apple and I listened out on the porch a little while ago, and when it first started, I was like, I wonder who this is. And then I heard wow, wow, wow. And I was like, oh, it's cats.
You know that.
Can't mistake that. Okay. So we got two more for you.
Whoa.
And this one is from Chris. And here we go.
Our family. This is Christopher from Baltimore. I saw Rainbow Full of Sound last night at a place called the 8x10. And it was awesome. They did Europe 72 date like as advertised. And rumor was it was a German date, so that was kind of cool. I think I overheard people saying it's Düsseldorf, which is fun for me because I'm a painter, and Düsseldorf is a huge painting city. There's a big, famous art academy there, with a bunch of big shop painters and stuff. Set list was incredible. There was a really dope China rider. The bass player was thunderous, like truly thunderous. And there was a tiny little pumpkin on the front of the stage because it was Halloween. Anyway, yeah, that was I called the other week about Tab in DC. That was pretty great. And 2 weeks back or a week back, I was at Den Company and in Denver, and that was incredible. That was such a treat, man. I'll probably call back with a trip report for that. Y'all don't have to play all this on the show or anything like that. Don't worry about it. But
yeah, we do.
You know, anyway, just wanted to tell y'all what was up. The crowd for Rainbow Full of Sound was pretty tight and intimate, so everyone was really chill and very cool. And the band jams, man. They had a great little like visual situation going on, so that was a lot of fun. And they had a fun opening act. He was a singer-songwriter, I guess, who is also working as their merch guy. But he had some great stage demeanor and joined them for the Pigpen tune. Oh my God, there's a rat right next to my car. That's a big rat. Wow. But yeah. So it was a good time, and that guy that was opening for them really shredded on the harmonica, man. It was honestly otherworldly. I haven't heard harmonica like that. There's something extraterrestrial going on with that guy's windpipes and tongue, because the enunciation of some of the notes was just like it was really just top notch. Really, really incredible stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna call back with the Dead Company before it, and you talk a little bit about that. I lived in Denver for a year and was kind of out in the scene for a while, so that'll be like a different thing. That'll be like another call, and also like yeah. So it's like a whole situation. But you guys have a great week. Thanks for doing the show, etc. Bye.
Aw.
Hell yeah, Chris. We love your calls, man.
Fuck yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you
That
know,
was rad.
and it's good luck when a rat shows up next to your car in the middle of calling the tepid line. So just know that you're going to be blessed for the next 6 weeks. You can walk on water, man.
Fertility and growth.
Yeah, that's what rats symbolize.
Disease. It's true.
Hey, you too can be played on No Simple Road saying stuff. 971-808-1524. So that's how that works. Anybody have any final words before we get to Ethan?
I think they've waited long enough to listen to this awesome interview with Ethan.
Remember, stick around after the interview for us, more of us, talking about more stuff and things. So
With us.
here we go. Without further ado, the No Simple Road crew gives you
Ethan Miller. Welcome back to the show, Ethan. It's so good to have you back.
Yeah, nice to see all you guys.
It's exciting time, man. Like, no shortage of stuff going on for you, huh?
Yeah, no, never a shortage of stuff going on. It is pretty exciting. I mean, it's been a pretty exciting couple of years for good or bad, you know.
Yeah.
So there's no shortage of exciting things happening over the last 5-6 years, you know.
Yeah. The last time, so we saw you, God, was it 2018 or 19?
2019, I believe.
At Mississippi Studios. And then the world exploded later that year. Everything went nuts.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
But you said 5 or 6 years. So what was happening the previous few before COVID that was kind of exciting and crazy for you?
Oh, I mean, I just feel like the whole world's been accelerating over the last 5 years.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Right?
Everything just leading to the explosive meltdown that we're currently at. You can just feel the whole thing sucking into a vortex, you know, and then somewhere around, you know, kind of we got the COVID rolling, and that was all fun and games, and then, you know, just ratcheted it up completely to total U.S. civil meltdown on top of it, and you know, just I don't know, full apocalypse party, you know.
You know, not to get too weird right from the get-go, but I gotta ask you a question, man. Like, did you ever think that this could be our reality? Did you see this shit coming?
You know what? I think that we still, the thing that makes me a little nervous is that it's like imagining your own death. You know what I mean? Like, envision death, you know, well, maybe it's going to be peaceful or dark, or maybe I'll be on a cloud playing a harp, you know. But when you really try to do it, it's like imagine infinity, or imagine astrophysics, and imagine the length of the universe.
Right.
You can't, our minds aren't really capable of handling that kind of projection, you know? And I think that even in the moment we're in right now, we're still not capable, even the greatest minds and philosophers and analysts, I just don't think that the mind is capable. We haven't lived in times with these kinds of pandemics. We haven't lived in times where, you know, the very fabric of our country, you know, it's not a question of which car should I buy, or, you know, Netflix or Showtime app. It's a question of, you know, are we on the brink of an armed revolution, of a civic meltdown, of a civil war, of a coup in our government, of a you know, disintegration of our democracy, of a pandemic upon pandemic that could, you know, really upend, you know, the forward flow of humanity. And even as those things happen, it's almost impossible to have total analysis, or to feel total comprehension, I should say.
Yes,
Totally.
yes.
Analyze, but the comprehension, especially one after the other and on top of each other, stacked in a multitude. It's so yeah, probably in cocktail conversation, we all talk about these things happening, but in the midst of them, what can you totally do with that information? I don't know. So you still can't quite believe it. You know, I think that's going to your hurdles with
1,000%.
The environment and all that stuff. But yeah, you know, I don't know. That's the long answer.
I love the long answer, man. That's what a podcast is all about.
Well, that's what we talk about, Colin. One thing we have learned in the last 2 years is that we don't know shit. We have no idea. There used to be you could kind of make out the script or kind of figure out what the hell they or whatever was going on. Now it's just like, enjoy today and see what happens. And
it really did force at least me to be more present in the moment and stop projecting outward and doing as much planning as I did. And it really did force me to like shorten my scope in the world and like kind of just take hold of what I have right here in the moment and work from there.
Make it the best.
So I guess that's a good thing if you think about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's positive. Yeah, it is a positive thing. You know, it's there's something, you know, it's easy to, mean, you have to look at the situation and say it is possible things could get worse or things could stay bad and get, that it's just, that is a possibility. We do not live in a utopia, and this is not a fairy tale, and we've got, pipers are coming calling for us. And that is a great lesson, is like, make sure that, how is it today? How is it right now? Are you living in that to some extent? Right. Because it may not just all be about, oh, well, I'll just, work for 30 years from now or something. Like, things could be worse.
Yeah.
It's not a happy thought, but, stay in the moment. We should have been doing this all along, good or bad.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I was going to ask, has any of this like last 2-year heavy, crazy shit inspired different music or different ways of expressing yourself musically?
No, I don't think so, really. To be honest, over the last year, I haven't really started like really deeply writing again. I had so much stuff written and so many releases backed up that when COVID hit, I could really just be in my apartment in Oakland. Now I'm living up in Humboldt on a farmhouse, but at that time I spent the first year of COVID in Oakland, in an apartment and in the middle of the city, running my record label and selling records online, and business was booming because people were trapped inside buying records every day.
Kudos to you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. I was thankful to have something to do. I don't, love idle time. And thankfully I had a lot of, things backed up to put out: a rarities record, 2 live albums, the this, the that, finished the new album. And that was just with one of my bands. So that, took me the whole time through. And I have written a little bit. And I'd say, no, I was already reflecting on these things, I think they were already there. And, I don't know. I wasn't compelled to make some kind of bigger jump up and down statement about the moment. I mean, you want to hold a mirror up a little bit, but, I don't feel like my finger was off the pulse of the coming chaos or something before that.
That's fair. You had stuff to do already, so you're focused. You got stuff sitting in your closet. You're gonna look in your closet first before you start looking out. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Ethan, Mel and I were driving yesterday and listening to the one track on Dharma Wheel that's available on iTunes, and I gotta say, man, like it's very different than your other stuff. It's a lot more playful.
Is it the shorter track with Adam MacDougall?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that one, the funky, the kind of disco-y one.
Yeah. A lot more playful, man. It's a lot of fun. It's and fucking groovy as shit. Like that. When you get Adam involved, something special happens there, man. Can you talk about how that came about and tell us about that particular song?
Yeah. I've had that song for a while, and I wanted it to be like that, like kind of a celebration of just like, the lyrics are kind of absurdist, like earthy absurdist, right. and the music is, supposed to be kind of, McCartney Wings-esque or something like that has that kind of good feeling, like, and then I thought, well, we can put enough, Howlin Rain edge on it, so it's not just like pure escapism, that it's got this, it's got its little tooth,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I wanted keys on it. I don't remember from the get-go. I thought, we gotta get Adam in there, but I thought, it'd be great to try it with the Moog and the clavinet and all that stuff. I think I always kind of heard clavinet on there, that Stevie Wonder sound going.
Mm-hmm.
And once Adam got in there, he just started, he was just doing improv takes through the song, for each of the different keyboards that are on there. And then I edited them together into a cohesive thing later. and each one of them was just so, so much fun and different. And they were just cool little improv expressions that he ran through. And it was hard to choose just one. So as you can tell, in the end, I just basically created like a little Adam keyboard soup, is what the producer called it. He's like, wow, it's just like you made this bubbling soup of Adam's keyboards, the clavinet, the different layers of Moog, everything that's on there. And I probably didn't think it was going to be quite such a dominant instrument, but it just made the song for me. It just, he brought so much, joy and fantasy and funk to it, that it was already, a funky track, but it sealed the deal for me.
It's such a, cause we didn't know that it was Adam.
Yeah, we knew when
we knew. I was like, that's got to be Adam MacDougall playing those keys right there. And she was like, yeah, it really does. But like you said, it's a lot of fun. And the album doesn't come out until the 8th, right?
Yeah,
comes out on Mel's birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. Happy birthday to you too.
Happy birthday to my record.
Right, you got a baby. Heck yeah.
Are we looking at a theme here with the couple of songs that we've heard? Like I said, it's like you said, it's still got that Howlin Rain edge to it, but it's a little different, man. And it's
the 16-minute Dharma Wheel, man. Yeah. That's a journey. That's a journey, brother. That goes like all over.
Yeah.
So are we looking at that for the whole album? Is that kind of what we've got going as a theme here, or are we returning to the Howlin Rain ethos?
Well, I don't know. I mean, each record's a little different, and this one, I think we tried to make it like a real pure expression of that band,
right?
And just do what was natural for that band. I tried to, I didn't bring them any songs where I said, well, we're not as hot on that, or I could tell they weren't as hot about it. I know this song's great. We're going to do it anyways. It was just like, you guys pick with your enthusiasm, choose from my roster of songs that I'm bringing in. And even if they were willing to do some, but I could tell, you could just feel when we played it the first couple times through, if it wasn't like already just part of the language, I set it aside. Let's just do what really this song could bring, this group in to just speak it. And in the end, I felt like we really had that, and it created, we didn't put any target on ourselves to say, or target for ourselves to say, this is going to be our funky album, or this is going to be our raw, like sort of like, it just was like, let's take as long as we want to rehearse these. Let's take them out on the road. Let's really, do a thorough job and see how natural and commanding we can make these performances and these arrangements. And, I feel like we really did. It really created an album that was, one of the most fun studio experiences I've had, just in its ease of execution. That a lot of times the studio is a stressful place, especially when especially if you don't really, it's very easy to start having a hard time in the studio, to get hung up on things, to have something that sounded perfect on stage or perfect in the rehearsal space where you go, wow, this is the greatest tune, and it just isn't work. You're performing for a cold machine in the studio.
Okay. Yeah. No energy coming back.
Yeah, a little. Well, yeah. And it's also like when you look in the mirror and you doll yourself up, you look straight forward, you get your straightforward profile, just super dolled up and looking great, your hair and everything's looking great and stuff. And then someone takes a video or a photograph of you from different sides, and you realize, like, wow, my ear's ugly and my neck's all weird. You know what I mean? Like, this thing's taking pictures, and they may not be flattering. They may catch you in a weird moment where you're like, your mouth's open, you're talking, you're just like, I look horrifying, And that studio can be like that, it can just do that to something you thought was of ease, something that you thought very natural, very easy. And then, it takes its pictures without that sort of forward profile that you thought you were looking at the whole time, that you thought was reality. And it can be tough, so.
But this one was easier.
Well, I'll tell you what, because we we dealt with the mirror in rehearsal from every angle. You know what I mean? We dealt with the ears, we dealt with the sideburns, we dealt with the chin, with the eyebrows, the neck, the back of the head, the top of the head. There were no surprises like, oh no, I'm balding. When you see the elevator mirror, we know what the top of the head looks like because we took that time, and that's what I mean by it being, sort of fun and the confidence of just like, I know what I am all around. We know what this record is all around. Right. What we have to do is the adjustments that we had to make were, very easy. I mean, producers will tell you that, or engineers before you go, spend $500 or $1,000 a day in their studio, prepare, because you're paying a lot of money. And if you come in here and you guys start talking about things for 8 hours and trying to write music and work on songs, and you've only, that's really tricky. And sometimes not being prepared creates really cool off the cuff records and explosive moments of creativity. But long story short, it having sometimes, that prepare creates a sense of confidence and execution that comes out the other side, and you can hear it. The band is in control, they're in command, and they're delivering what they meant to say.
Typically in creating an album, I would imagine that you have the luxury and benefit of being able to work the songs out live in front of people to gauge energetic reaction and feel it, and those songs have a chance to live and grow as part of the collective consciousness or whatever. And you didn't have a chance to do that with these songs, did you?
Yes, we did with these songs.
Okay.
I think that's one of the things that made it so strong is, that's the ideal. And you hear about, Neil Young or the Dead or all these people that do that sometimes have songs in their repertoire live for a long time and then choose a time to record them. Or, it didn't work that time, I'll record it this time. And they're really road tested. And you just don't always have that luxury, but it is something that we wanted to do with these. It is something that I set out for us. I said, let's write, let's arrange, let's rehearse, and then let's book these tours and go and road test these things. So I think that's something that really accounts for it too, is when it comes to, instead of performing for live people, performing for the cold machine, as I call it, the capture machine, where you're, no energy's coming back. You're just banging on a flat wall, in some of those cases, we were, on stage Saturday night, the night before, getting off stage at 1:30 in the morning. And the next morning by 11 a.m., we're recording those same songs, so the sweat has barely dried from stage. And we still knew just what that felt like to do it. It's not a reimagining of, well, how do we add a little more energy or, pretend that, the audience is there as they will be with their headphones or their, car stereo or whatever it is down the line. So, I think that gave the album a lot of strength and energy and confidence too.
Was that done by design? Like, performing and then going right and recording?
Yeah, I booked the studio into the off time, that instead of just trying to book up every little town, usually Howlin Rain, we book every day, if possible, sometimes more than one thing a day. I think the most we did was like 21 shows in 18 days on the East Coast or something. And it didn't wear us down at all because what we wanted to do was play music, so, but the enticement of recording, on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday days that might be a little flat in B markets or something like that, that was ideal. It was just like, cool, we'll go in there, we're hot, and then head back out, and resume tour on the other end of it. So luckily, Tim Green's studio out in Grass Valley was a perfect place to do that because you could route the West Coast right through there and have those stops. And there's a few in Southern California, and I'm sure a few in the Pacific Northwest you could do too.
Right.
Convenient for that kind of thing, but it's definitely ideal. you know.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
actually.
It makes so much sense
Yeah,
because
you
you're
carry that live,
you're on
that
fire
live
still.
vibe right on into the studio.
Yeah, you really know. Yeah, it's like you guys said earlier. You really know. Just a few hours ago, you knew which spots you could hear the audience really. Oh yeah, giving you applause, or just feel the energy go up, and you know what was important. And also maybe on the same tip, what to adjust. Like, has anyone noticed that there's a little dip, there's a little from the audience
Yeah.
for this part? How do we adjust that? Now you can talk to the engineer producer and try to figure those little things and make those micro adjustments.
I never ever thought about the audience being co-creators of
An album?
an album before. That's a fucking trip.
Sure. Well, it's a lot better to know what they react to before you record it than after.
Oh, they hated it. Let's
We'll wing
record.
it. Fuck it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I have been in bands that we, I've never been in bands that did that very much, that took the new songs and really road tested the hell out of them. Heron Oblivion's done it a bit with the new material that we had for our second album. And Howlin Rain has, we did it for this album. But I've had other bands where we wrote and recorded like a song that was just something that we thought was, like one of our key tunes, and then, the audience was always pretty flat to it. And the label was kind of flat, like, okay, that's the filler song. And the press was always kind of like, this, and we're like, wow, all four of us just think this thing is like the bee's knees, and I don't know. There's something to be said that it made it on because the four of us love it.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's also something to be said with like, well, what do you think? I don't know why we're all in this state of delusion together, but shall we?
Maybe it feels good to play together, but not necessarily for everybody to hear
To
it.
be on the ride.
Right.
Maybe that's right. Maybe there's something to it. And even the song that I've got in my mind is like, I won't say what it is, but it is true. There's things that are really fun to do to play. And I was like, wow, these are fun things to do. Every musician in this band is having a lot of fun playing this song because of its little challenges and tricks and these different things. And yet the audience is on the other side going like, I don't really need this. You may be having fun, but your ear isn't having as much fun as your fingers and dexterity are, or whatever it is,
Audiences are a funny thing, period. I mean, going to shows for as long as we have, I see how they move and ebb and flow, but I've noticed a change since we've come back to having live music again. At least the shows that we've been to, like, people are a lot more attentive now. There's a lot less chatter in the shows that we've been going to. Everybody's a lot more engaged and present, and I think that, I don't know, maybe it speaks to having something taken away and then getting it back. That could be one thing, but
Or it's new again, when you
that.
start paying attention when something's new.
But did I see that I hope this is right, that you just played your first show in like a long time, right?
Yeah. You caught me right. What should be the middle? Well, it kind of is the middle of of our first West Coast tour, leading up to the Dharma Wheel release, and they're October was so crazy booked. The fall was so booked, that we ended up getting a couple of gigs right at the beginning and had some days off. Which normally I would fill up with smaller towns and stuff like that. I kind of had put together a fun network of different, what they call B-market towns, smaller towns where you go and do different kinds of, shows, all the way from whatever, house parties to, breweries to, whatever.
Right.
And because I think, COVID is still going and Delta is still, running rampant, that a lot of these smaller towns just hadn't got up and running. And my agent and I were talking to my contacts. He was talking to his, minor underground. Like sometimes it'll be someone's like, yeah, I've got a farm and we put on these real family oriented shows or, whatever it is. And he's talking to his promoters in some of these towns, Eugene, wherever it is. And, a lot of the reports coming back as we tried to fill in the missing days between last Thursday night and next Tuesday, where we started again in Seattle, things were pretty grim. My booker was saying, man, a lot of the promoter contacts, they're just AWOL.
Right.
They don't respond anymore. Who knows where they are in the world? Some of them may or may not even be with us, or God knows what. It's like that with everything, right? People are estranged for a couple of years. Some of these clubs will not reopen. Some of the promoters don't have enough clubs in these small towns to really be doing anything yet. And on my end, some of the friends that I was contacting are like, oh, sorry, it took a while. I just, got a terrible case of COVID. I was in the hospital, whatever. So I'll put my guitarist on it and have him see if the, brewery or wherever we usually have the inn, if they can get it together. And then a few days later, I'm sorry, my guitarist got COVID and now he's really sick and got pneumonia. And I was like, oh, this is just not good. Like this isn't, and I talked to my booker. I was like, this just feels kind of gross that these guys are really, these small towns are hurting. And beyond the question of whether it's even a good idea for us to go there or not, they're just not in shape to be doing it.
Right.
Trying to do it. Even the people I'm talking to are getting sick. So, that is to say, started with Nevada City, Reno, and then some days off that we just didn't fill. I just said, I'll fly home. Guys, go back to LA. We're not going to keep pushing this.
Yeah. No, I
good think on you.
That's classy. That's what that is. And that's also, Ethan, that's the benefit of experience right there. It's, you don't
have to push it.
Well, sometimes you do. And the benefit of experience is knowing when to take your foot off the fucking gas and it's okay. Right. Yeah.
We're not even sure what this moment is. I mean, I'm 2 days in, to the first tour. And, since February of 2020, we got off the East Coast tour about, 8 days before the world shut down or something like that. It was already, we were like, wow, something big is, there's a big dark storm cloud right just covering the whole horizon here as we finished up that East Coast tour, and us and Sun Watchers we were with, we're all sort of discussing, and you kind of had that feeling like, all right, let's get home and get everything in before the rain here, because it's going to be a flood, and so I don't even know what this is yet. Even in my 2 days back, I've seen all kinds of things out there about the way the world is getting back to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure which aspects of what I've seen are right or wrong. It's just
so hard, dude. It's so tough, man.
Weird.
I think that's been the most difficult part of all of this. It's like Apple said earlier, like we learn that we don't know anything anymore. And truth has become so odd and subjective depending on where you look and
where you live too.
And like an example of what I'm talking about is seeing comments on social media and thinking that things are one way, and then going, like Mel and I flew to Pennsylvania to see Fish a couple months ago, and it was like nothing ever happened. It was the strangest perspective to like pick this dumbass thing up and see one thing and think that that's your reality, and then go out into the world and see something else. But then, like you're saying, there's small towns where, they're struggling just to have a day. You know what I mean? So it's truth is based on where you're at this point and who you talk to. And it's so hard to know. Well,
there are different realities occurring. Like that's straight up. Some people are fine and they're living their life, and other people are like you said, sick, catching pneumonia in the hospital. And that's not everybody's reality. And I think that's what's so bizarre is that we're used to like kind of like one reality, one consensus, and it's not that anymore.
Right.
It doesn't seem that.
Busted.
Yeah, and it's hard. We're past the point, for a minute there when everything was in lockdown, you could still kind of quantify where things were coming from, what was happening,
Yeah.
Oh, this, Republican Party or this concert here created a super spreader event, and we could see it go out, and infect other people in the Senate or in the music scene or whatever, and now, like the Fish show, there's no clocking what happened there. You know what I mean? It could have been a super spreader event. It could have been totally fine, unless I'm sure the CDC they don't have the capability now that we're, back at it, out there on such a grand scale in every city and every town to some degree, for better or for worse, we're not clocking it. So what it means is we're getting on with it, and for better or for worse. We don't really, know what that means for us to play a bar gig in Nevada City or Fish to play the stadium, or for the, the Dodgers to fill up the place, even if everyone shows a vax card. Well, how many people got infected with Delta, and what effect did that have on Los Angeles in the following 4 months afterwards? Like, this stuff's all just back into some kind of, giant swirl. And that's where we're left sort of wondering.
Do you think that in this new landscape that we're in, prior to this, I saw the role of a musician, or like a troubadour. You know what I mean? You come through and you sing to the people, and you do your thing, and we have this experience, and it's wonderful, and then you're on to the next show. And do you think that when things are hot, the way that they're hot right now, that the your job changes in any way because of what's going on? And I don't mean how you maneuver through tour and that. I'm saying like the fundamental job that a musician does. Do you think that changes when the climate is hot like this?
I think, everybody's job changes when things are hot like this. Look at the people that stayed at and worked when everybody else went into, their homes and locked in by directive of the, of the U.S. government. Still the healthcare providers and the supermarket clerks both all had to go in there and, stick it out on the front lines the whole time and stuff. And the tone of, probably the meaning of that and the tone of it changed, as to what exactly that meant, because, it might be easy to say, supermarket clerk. Okay. If I see this person or that person, hopefully they both do a good job. But when you see them every day out there in this risk situation like that, I thought they should have put, given some kind of government funding to supermarket clerks, because I was like, these people are not getting paid, for the most.
I'll tell you that for a fact, Ethan. Like,
Mel's a grocery clerk.
Aaron was saying, does your job change? Well, fundamentally, no, my job didn't change. I'm ringing people up and bagging their groceries, but the heaviness, the fear, the uncertainty, that was put on us regardless whether they were trying to do it or not. It wasn't people trying to put their shit on us or trying to hurt our feelings, or it wasn't that. It was the weight of the world was on everybody and it came on us. And then there's so much fear, you couldn't get around it.
Yeah, absolutely. You're the only public people that a lot of people are seeing.
That would people were like,
unload on
well,
them.
the thing is that people they're quarantining, right? Like you said, at the government made you're quarantined. So we're the only people. So they're like spitting out all their fears, that they've seen, or like all of their, information that they have for the week, and then they're gone. So we're getting this heavy ass shit like every 5 minutes, in between orders. And honestly, just going home and like eyes swirly, just like, what the fuck how do you unpack that? What do you do with that?
Yeah.
Because it's, for some people, it's really easy to just, that's no big deal. And I do happen to be one of them. I don't have to take people's stuff, but this just happened to be particularly hard. It's like when you're, somebody comes to see a show because, they're celebrating, right? It's their anniversary. It's great. And so it's all good vibes. But then somebody's coming to the show. They just lost their dad. They're in a certain kind of way. Maybe you're their favorite band and that's why they're there. That it changes, it changes the energy. And that's really what I saw still during the pandemic, and still is that it's changed the energy of the world that I work in.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that was not, I don't know. That's still a mystery to me.
Me too. I don't know how I'm doing it.
I'm just glad. I never thought at my age, being 52 years old, that I would be working in the legal cannabis industry. But then to have our governor and most states did it, they deemed us essential. It was it was like cannabis is essential, especially right fucking now, because everybody needs their medicine and everybody's going to be at home. And it was fantastic. But like Mel said, we suddenly became like the therapist, the bartender, we became everything that everybody would normally get by going out to all these other stores and places and interacting. And
their friends and family.
Their out was getting to go to the grocery store to go get their weed. The liquor stores stayed open.
Yeah.
All the bars and everything closed, but they made sure it was like, okay, people need their vices, their groceries.
You have an upheaval on your hands.
Oh yeah. We sold more weed in 2020 than we did the 4 years like before it. Like it was just everybody had stimulus money, extra income from unemployment. So it was nuts. And there was days it was like Mel was saying, there was days it was really hard. There were days where it was like a mask debate day. All of a sudden you had 5 customers that want to scream and yell, and that shit's hard to keep out.
Mm-hmm.
It's whether you put up a fence or a gate or whatever, it still gets through somewhat, and you're affected by it. Nobody wants everybody to be.
We're affected by each other. Period.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's people under pressure. I mean, look how, once again, look how well and how terribly we've done.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
right on, Ethan. That sums up all of it.
Yeah, man.
Not just human. That's why I'm like, this is not, I don't know. Will we overcome everything? Like, well, you know what? I mean, it's like we do an amazing job of adaptation. And then also, we've got this part of our human thing is to just screw everything up.
Yeah, what is that? Yeah, no shit, man.
I mean, I don't know. I know as human beings, we think we're like really amazing, you know what I mean? But it's sort of like, what? I don't know.
That's called hubris, right? Yeah, isn't that what that is?
Maybe, maybe it's just part of our like animal / insect, really when it comes to the hive thing, it's just like, we don't just become this transcendental, these godlike beings on earth. It's like we do kind of like do things like, overpopulated, making bad decisions as a group. There's not enough to eat. Now the Yellow Jackets population is dying off, whatever. Like, that can never be humans. We can fly to the moon. We've got iPhones, it's like, then when we're faced with our Yellow Jacket, overpopulation moment, we're just like, somehow, there's a lot of ideas about how it should be done. And then we kind of just do like insects do and sort of do amazing things, and also a path of inertia that just sort of takes us down. And I don't know.
I super appreciate you saying that, because it gives me a little bit more understanding to just everything, because you're right. Like, we screw things up constantly, but we're also the ones that make it better.
Well, we are also manifesting engines. Consciousness is an engine of manifestation. That's what it does. That's its thing. And like, we are all, as a hive, co-creating the reality that we're in. right? Like depending on what you think and what you believe. And I got to think that like this moment in time that we're in right now is super precarious. We're in a weird spot, like you said earlier, Ethan, that we've never been in before. We don't fucking know. There's no guidebook for right now. We're off the rails. Like, what's going to happen? And if we're co-creating this reality that we're all in.
What is a city without its music?
The legacy of the New York Philharmonic is incredible.
Nearly 2 centuries of history. That's a lot of music and a lot of stories.
I was sitting on stage for the very first time thinking, I can't quite believe this is happening.
Join me, Jamie Bernstein, as we explore the history of the New York Philharmonic. It's the NY Phil story made in New York, a podcast about a city, its people, and their orchestra. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
And I know that it's incumbent on me to have a positive outlook, because if I want that future to materialize, that's what I've got to do. Not to the detriment of like fooling myself and not seeing what's really going on out there, but like, you know, I'm talking about like under the surface shit where I sit in my head with my own talk going on inside my skull.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Try to be
I've got to like try and put that out there that like, we're going to be okay. We are getting through this. The sun's coming out. This is just a storm, right? I mean, or we're just assisting in the downfall otherwise.
It's both. Is it not?
I don't know. I mean, that's kind of what I was getting at, is that, yeah, it's a little overwhelming. If it is the latter, you know, if we're on a track and it's not going to be a positive outcome, no matter what we do at this point,
right?
You know, then that is probably overwhelming for us, you know, too overwhelming for us to.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of what you're saying, is that no matter what, one of our capacities that is different than, you know, the ant, the yellow jacket, just simply does work, does eat, does, you know, protect the hive or do this or that until it can't anymore. And as humans, we don't just, that's just not our capacity, because of what you said, you know, because of the, you know, our mentalities, our manifest, you know, how we manifest reality, that we have to have a perspective, at least to the point that we're developed at now.
Right.
And if that perspective is simply like, I'm just counting the days, it's over. Scientists said there is no turning back. You know what I mean? We got like a generation and a half before it's just a fireball or whatever, and then the fungi will take over again and stuff. And in another 2 million years, there might be people again or something. You know, it's like that isn't probably something that everybody on Earth, you know, is going to be able to, or that will be able to do anything with, that isn't just pure chaos or mass meltdown, you know. So I think having, you know, working towards things. The other thing is, we do extraordinary things. I mean, this is an old accomplishment, but it still blows my mind that humans have walked on the moon, you know, and that just a few decades before that, you know, it was more, you know, that kind of imagining that something like that might happen was just impossible.
Yeah.
You know, and that the impossible has been done many times, and we move forward in such an exponential rate now. Is it possible that at some point, you know, humans will have outlasted their, you know, their yellow jacket moment will happen, and they've outlasted or, you know, outdone with their overpopulation what the Earth could handle, and we're sort of sucked back in and you know, let the fungus and the birds and whatnot have another go at it here. It is, but I think that is a possibility. It's just not something that we can really comprehend.
Right.
Even that's a very natural thing when you look at the history of evolution. You look at the dinosaurs, how long they ruled the earth as the primo beings, you know. But it's not something we can quite, you know, wrap our heads around. So yeah, I think you got to keep keep positive, keep trying, and remember that no matter how dark it looks, that things are just, we accomplish the impossible.
That's true, man. And we don't know what next amazing thing is going to happen. We just don't. Like, our walk on the moon moment could be 2 days from now, and this conversation is completely moot. You know what I mean? We got
scientists all over the world with brilliant minds working on solutions and other things of everything in life.
Shit, aliens could show up tomorrow and be like, "Hey, here, we don't know."
Wait, that brings me to offbeat. I have an offbeat question because the insect thing, and then he was talking about aliens. Who designed the artwork for the album from the live album last year? I freaking love it.
The one with the alien,
with like the praying mantis and the UFO.
Yeah, that's Eric Roper.
Okay, that just made me think of it. When we're talking insects, he said alien. I just picture that artwork is amazing.
He's got the old cigarettes in the ashtray and the old dirty coffee cup. And so many good touches, you know.
I wouldn't normally do this, but because you're a thoughtful guy, I want to ask you a silly kind of a question that I wouldn't normally ask, but
sure.
So the name of the album, first part of the question is, was the album named prior to everything that's going on, or did that come during all this?
No, the album was named last. The albums usually are named last. Like, I got to kind of see what the whole novel is about, and then try to give it a good, good title.
It's so good. It's so fitting for this conversation, and also for the time. And what made you land on it? I personally just want to know.
This is a tricky question. People have been asking me this quite a bit, and I have really meandering answers that never quite get there, because it's kind of how these titles come to me. If you look at the Howlin Rain titles, Magnificent Fiend, The Russian Wilds, The Alligator Bride, The Dharma Wheel, they're kind of novelistic.
Okay.
Type. They sound more like something that might be, the Dharma Wheel was meant to be. It could be we even used the font, so it looked like an old Arthur C. Clarke or Robert Heinlein, sci-fi paperback kind of. And they're meant to be that way. It's probably more of a classic, 70s sci-fi novel title than it is a typical rock and roll, album title. And that's kind of what I chase in these. I want each of these albums to be its own little world, its own little universe. And to me, the album titles, all these different aspects of the record still matter. I don't buy into it's just going on digital. Who cares? It's, does even need an album title? Who cares about the song titles or the lyrics? The song title is it's the thing over the gate on the entrance into this little universe, it's a huge, decorated deco thing into the Paris subway. And so I kind of finished the records, and I get to this oh shit moment, where I'm I don't have a song title. I never have them. It's time. I've held this off as long as I possibly could. It's mastered, and tomorrow they're going to put the ISRCs on there or something, and I have to get this done, because they're always a little what I want is for them to be a little abstracted. There's no Russian Wilds song on the Russian Wilds. There's no, I'm searching for something that is, I don't know. It is the bonfire of the vanities. Is there a bonfire in that book? The way writers, the sun also rises. You know what I mean? It's not about the sun. It's but you're looking for that title that's got that literary resonance where you kind of go, okay, I could see myself winning the Pulitzer Prize and saying thank you, the Dharma Wheel.
Hell yeah.
But so I'm always trying to come up with those kinds of slightly abstracted, names like that also will house, will encompass and house this world that's created musically. And so with the Dharma Wheel, I don't know. It did have, there was things about, we're coming through those really intense couple of years, especially 2020 with the civic unrest and just, I think that this album may have even been named after the Capitol riots on January 6th, and, basically attempted coup, all this stuff was kind of the culmination of, the American path, the American truth, how it's just completely fluid, from person to person, how it's built into our contemporary system in this country for us to each proudly believe in our own set of truths. And at this point, facts even.
Right.
We don't even agree on that. We can each say our own facts. That's just your fact, mister. I have my own fact. Who's to say that we have to have the same ones? And at that point, it's like, well, we're in deep shit. You know what I mean? This is the breakdown, literally the breakdown of communication. And communication is literally the only thing that keeps us, from just smashing each other over the head, or cannibalizing each other out of, dominance or whatever. So, we're in big trouble. And so that stuff was hanging around the back of my head, but also lighter things. The name was a little elastic to me. I wanted it to be a little bit like a sci-fi thing, have a slightly, kind of Robert Heinlein-esque religious overtones that are sort of, pulled from their original meaning in the actual dimension, in our actual reality and dimension, and then brought over into this world that we've created, this fictional world. And they still hold some of that resonance from our premier dimension, but they're in a new dimension. I'm kind of referencing like Stranger in a Strange Land, some of those Heinlein things where he does that. He takes our reality's religious, touchstones and ideals and different things, and then puts them into this science fiction, fiction piece, and lets them go and do other things and be resonant in other ways, that still reflect back into this world, but also exist fully in this new space. And the title in the end, that was kind of something that I felt, that really does that for me. I don't feel like I'm just, stealing or abusing someone's religious idea or something. That felt like, even in its natural state, that the Dharma Wheel could be elastic enough to exist in both dimensions and still resonate on both sides,
I'm really happy I asked.
Yeah.
That was exactly the kind of answer I was looking for, man. That's
all right. I told you, it doesn't really ever, you're like, well, is there an answer in there?
There's not really an answer, but it's an explanation to your,
That's even better. Yeah. A conversation about it. Not just, not yet. Yes.
Yeah. I called it that because I love that name. And I always said I was going to have an album named that.
And thanks.
Fuck. Yeah. That's why I don't typically I try not to do that when we're having conversations with people, especially thoughtful individuals. I try not to what kind of bass strings do you use, bro? Nobody fucking cares, man. Who gives a shit?
I like to think nothing's off limits, especially during the course of a conversation, because you never know where you're going to get, you never know how you're going to get there.
You should always ask. Someone can always say you know what, that's too stupid, or that's
Please.
Yeah, then it'd be okay, sorry.
On to the next thing.
Next.
No.
Yeah, I'm not going to divulge. I'm not going to kiss and tell or whatever. But yeah, you never know when somebody. I mean, I didn't know exactly where that title where it came from. When you boil it down. So it's been kind of fun for me to try to figure out the answer to that, especially since I tried to choose something with multi-resonance, multi-meaning, something that looked different from different angles to different people,
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and that's part of the fun of music is interpreting what titles mean and what lyrics mean, and
mystique,
creating your own world from the song.
And also even just kind of like interpreting your feeling that you get from the song or from the album. Sometimes you look at the album and you're like, I want to hear that track because the name pops out. And it, maybe it's not your favorite song, maybe it's the best song, but you never know what's going to grab somebody,
Mm-hmm. And also I've found this particularly with the Grateful Dead, like lyrics mean one thing to me at one time in my life, and another time in my life it's something completely different. It's a fluid, alive kind of songbook thing. And there's times when I found out what like Hunter intended when he wrote the lyrics, and it ruined the song for me. Like, fuck, it's about a bell. You know what I mean? It was about my soul and my journey through the universe.
No, it's about a
cracking
a bell.
Yeah, so
I agree with that. I think that, like you guys were saying earlier, that it's interesting when you're on tour that the audience could be part of could influence the writing.
Right.
And I so strongly believe that, you only want to go, that you only have the right as a, musical artist or a novelist to finish the piece and put it out there. And it isn't, the whole thing just keeps going. Then the engagement with the thing, that's where it really happens, that musicians and writers don't make things for their closets. If you write a book or a song and just put it away and no one else hears it, to me, that's only, it's almost nothingness. And maybe it meant something to you on a personal level, but it's not that engagement that creates this ongoing thing, that it can be, it's also another good lesson as to why to be very careful as to when to give away the source of a song or the so-called meaning of a song. Like Hunter didn't really have the right, in my opinion. Okay, in some cases, like To Keep the Dead thing, the Box of Rain story is a very touching story, and those lyrics are abstract enough that it still means other things to me, and it's resonant and beautiful that these two men bonded over this while a third man that was the father of one of those men died, and that there's something, gorgeous about that trinity of compassion, between males and the further compassion between, the males and the Grateful Dead, and in a place where probably a lot of times it could just be a little overly testosterone and a little light on compassion between them, probably. There's something beautifully resonant. On the other hand, like you said, you want to be careful not to find out that, this super touching ballad that you played at your wedding was written about 9/11 or something.
Yeah.
You nothing else matters. Metallica syndrome. Like, we played at our wedding. It's about a teenage suicide. You're like, man. Lars Ulrich just giving it away in the interview. He's like, yeah, it's like my teenage kid killed himself. You're like, oh
dude, I played that at my wedding.
Wedding, man. Everybody, that's a first dance song, man.
Yeah.
Let it go,
that's
man.
the beauty of rock and roll and music, though, man. That fluid nature and how it makes us all feel and like think and react, and that's the whole thing right there. That's what made me love music. Is it moved me. That's the thing. Like, if it doesn't move you, I don't even know if that's art.
It is. Just maybe not for you.
Okay, that's fair.
My mom always said this one thing that, I didn't really get it till I got older, but she would say, you raise your children not for yourself, they're for somebody else. And she would say that all the time, and I just didn't get it. But after now our youngest child is 19, he's an adult, and realize like, yeah, you really don't, whatever you cultivate in your heart or whatever you put out there, it's never really for yourself, because the second somebody engages it, it's their interpretation, or it's about them now. It's about their perspective. It's no longer yours. So if you're sharing something, you've taken away the ability to say, well, that's what this is for. No, like actually the spoon, I use it for my puppet's eyeball, not just for my cereal, you know? And that's a real thing. That's why I said it. Sorry.
Wow.
But yeah, I was just thinking about that because you said it's, you keep it in your closet, like, you make this amazing story, or this great, soundtrack, and then it's like shelved in your closet, never to be seen, never to be heard, never to be interacted with. And you can't really do that if you're a true artist. You really do have to bring out, because the interaction is part of the art.
I think so. I mean, is it possible? Look, nobody was buying Van Gogh paintings and stuff. Obviously, he, those ended up, in a closet before they ended up, in the history, in the annals of history, as some of the greatest art, the planet's ever known. So, it defeats our argument a little bit that.
Well, but when we saw it now, right? Like if they were thrown away, never to be seen again.
And he meant it to be seen. He meant, it didn't just reflect his inner self and his vision. It reflected an engagement, a communal engagement, I think.
I like that, a communal engagement.
You're having a communal engagement here on Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
You're playing Portland Wednesday?
Yes, Wednesday. Yeah.
All right.
Right on.
Mississippi Studios.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun
it's a
to
good
go back
room,
there.
man. We were just there a couple weeks ago or a week ago.
Yeah, saw Andy Frasco there.
Yeah, it's a good spot, man, and I look forward to seeing you, Ethan. And I appreciate you spending time with us, man.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys too. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, speaking of arts and artists, and she was just saying it, Aaron's got to take a picture and send it to you of the picture that that Mel has drawn of you during this interview. It's fantastic.
It's not fantastic.
It is fantastic.
This is one to be put in the closet.
You'll let Ethan decide on it, dude. It's dope.
I want to see it. It'll go on the Instagram stories.
I'll snap a picture of it and send it to you. So she's got this little book, and she. How would you explain what you do?
Well, during the course of the conversation, it's sometimes, you say really amazing stuff that I love words. I'm into words. I've always been, I love what they mean. I love how they're put together. And so lyrics are just important. And so when we speak to artists, sometimes just like on the fly, you guys will say something incredible, and I can't, I'll fixate on it. So I started to write it out so that I can pay attention to what's going on. And over the course of it's kind of evolved into more just kind of like doodling,
all kinds.
Yeah, doodling and writing things, or maybe I want to ask something, but we're in a good conversation, so I'll just write a little something to remind me. But it's been of all of our,
it's like a captain's log. It's a collage of the conversation we just had.
That's a better way to put it.
She does, man.
It's a better way to put it.
And there's hundreds of them.
She has several times brought up, towards the end of the interview, gone back and said, repeated what an artist had said. And they're like, who the fuck said that? And they're like, you did at the beginning of this interview. And they're like, I did?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty fucking awesome.
Well, one artist comes to mind is Chris Pandolfi, and every word he said was like a gold nugget. I was entranced by what he was saying, because he was very methodical and just he spoke very eloquently, and paused, and I just the art of conversation. It was just amazing, and he said so many things, and everybody does. It can be a silly thing from their childhood, but it's like the way they said it. And we're talking to artists. It's not just, you're not just an artist when you're on Mississippi Studio stage. You're an artist. That's what you are. So just having normal conversations, I feel like there's a creation that's happening, and I just, tag them on on my little.
You go back and read through the book like later and whatnot, or do?
I absolutely
all the time.
Well, because so like now with you, your episode's not going to come out immediately. It'll be a couple weeks or whatever. So when we do the intro for it, I don't remember everything. I'll just kind of go back and do a little bit and remember, stuff like. So it does help.
And she reminds us of things. She'll be like, "We said this. Remember this."
And I use it to write like the show notes. It's really.
It's a
I'm gonna
great
send you a
tool.
picture, dude. It's really fucking cool what she does, man.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So yeah, we'll see you next week, man.
Right on.
Yeah,
Ethan.
enjoy it. That sounds nice. Enjoy your farmhouse in Humboldt.
Hell
That
yeah.
sounds a lot better than an apartment in Oakland.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I am indeed. All right, you guys take care. It's good to see you again.
All right,
You
brother.
too,
All right, see you
Ethan.
soon.
Thanks
Take
so
care,
much.
Ethan. Have a good night, man.
Bye.
What a sweet human being, man.
Ethan is so
Thank you for sharing your time.
And the best beard in the business.
best beard in the business, and I love
Aaron's really loving your beard.
I'm
Ethan.
jealous.
He has Ethan, you have such a cool, he's just such a cool cat. And then you see him he just shreds it on stage when he gets into the solos.
Ethan reminds
Stuff.
me of he's one of those guys that could have either been a rock star or a psychology professor. Like,
yeah.
Do you know it? Like,
Could
it was
easily
gonna be one of
change
those
hat-
two. Yeah.
Could easily change hats. I'm done jamming. I'm going to go
Let's go discuss
philosophize.
Kierkegaard and Rumi and but
Then also be a little bit of a sci-fi novelist thrown in there.
and hopefully, this will be out. So Dharma Wheel is out now for all of you out there wondering. It is now out. It came
is
out
it?
on October 8th.
October 8th.
Oh, that's
on
right.
your birthday. So it is out on all the, I was going to say social media platforms. It's out on all the streaming services. But when it's available, I would suggest going and picking up a physical copy. Howlin Rain does cool stuff with their vinyl. And if you get the chance to pick up a copy of Dharma Wheel on vinyl, I would highly
Support
suggest
it.
that you do that. And that is one way that you can directly support the artists that you love and help them eat.
Mhm.
And have
Vibe.
something really awesome and substantial that they've worked their asses off to produce.
That's
Because
their piece of art.
we've heard time and time again how expensive records are to make. And so having that in your possession, it's a big deal. They created this thing.
What did Banshee Tree said? 30,000 or 35,000?
70,000 views for $32.
Okay, there it is.
Or listens, not views,
on
listens.
Spotify, 32,000 listens.
No, you said it wrong again. 70,000 listens for $32.
Okay. Yeah, that's so when you stream the music, if you streamed it 70,000 times, they would make $32. So instead of you having to stream it all those, bless you, Apple.
Sorry.
Instead of you having to stream it all those times, you could just buy the album and support them. And like Mel was saying, you just heard Ethan is a very thoughtful guy, like I said, and they don't do anything for no reason. So when you receive a vinyl from them, the artwork is fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They got awesome package right now too. You can get it's like a tie-dye album. There's 2 different variants, and you can order a package that's the hat with the Dharma Wheel patch on it, and the shirt is badass. Everything for this album, awesome. If you go over to Howlin Rain and check out the merch,
it's on their website.
Yeah, it's on their website. Links to the merch tab opens up another.
I'll put a link to Howlin Rain's website in the show notes for you, so you can just go to nosimpleroad.com and it'll be there, and or you can click on it in the show notes in your podcast app and go check out what we're talking about. But yeah, Ethan, thanks again for hanging out with us, and all of you that hung in there to now, thanks. Darwin T.
I don't have a choice.
Yeah, you don't. Hey, now, No Simple Road family, we're back with more stuff.
And things.
Stuff.
Ethan,
And stuff.
you are a gentleman and a scholar, and I say that with all sincerity and no tongue-in-cheek. You are both of those things, and an amazing musician, and thank you for spending time with us. We are really grateful to have you as part of our No Simple Road family, man. And can't wait to see what you do in the future. And I hope everybody out there goes and checks out the Dharma Wheel because it's worth it.
Yep.
It is definitely worth it.
So I have something to say about the Dharma Wheel.
What?
Synchronicity is a huge language in my life, and it has been for some time. But I was we were talking about the little drawings that I make.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking through my journal, and I found Ethan, and today happens to be gosh, I have a little froggy in my throat. It keeps going.
Yeah, I heard it. There it is again.
Okay, but anyway, today is November 7th, 2021, and we are interviewing Ethan Miller, which we did back in October of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And the page next to Ethan was November 8th of 2020.
Oh, wow, really?
Yes. And it says, Happy Birthday Month, Aaron.
Aw.
And so I just thought that it was very strange that it's one day almost one day to the year, and it's Ethan, and
we are spinning on the Dharma Wheel.
Yes, that's what the synchronicity was the Dharma Wheel.
Can you explain that to the folks out there? What is the Dharma Wheel?
Well, that's like a life's work to explain what Dharma means and the wheel, but I mean, it's just, it's a way of life that's ongoing.
It's the progression of life after life, isn't it? Isn't it reincarnation over and over again? Isn't that the Dharma Wheel?
But I think
that's how I understood it.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like interpretation.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It's just like you give somebody those words or this phrase, and then they digest it and understand it on their self. But that's what I meant about the synchronicities. Is like, to how I relate it in my head. It's like how these things are coming at me and how I'm digesting them and how they continue to work in my life, like as like this wheel of knowledge. Sometimes I know things and sometimes I don't, but it's like kind of that wheel keeps on turning, and somehow or another I'm always where I should be.
Okay. Not to get too like heady.
We already started.
But like, is it really possible to not be where you're supposed to be?
Yeah, maybe.
It's not. You wouldn't be there if you're not supposed to be.
What if you got snatched up?
Then you were supposed to be snatched up. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
of course I get what you're like. No matter what the thing is, you're supposed to be doing it at the time.
That's part of your path, or it wouldn't be happening. Or is that the whole like timeline theory where there's like infinite multiverses that spread out from each moment because of all the choices that you can make and things that can happen and eventualities, and they're all happening simultaneously, and you happen to just be conscious of this one.
Yeah. I mean, that is true, because think about it. We could like, I'm thinking of like back in the day when we used to fight and storm out from each other.
I never did that.
Oh, me either. But hypothetically, if
Allegedly.
if that were to have happened, like, you know, you could have like went out the front door. You could have like stayed in the apartment. You could have left and came back. You could, do you know what I'm saying? Like there's so many options that happened. And so that's what it is in life. And I feel like synchronicity is almost like the breadcrumbs you give yourself to let you know that you've been here, or to pay attention here, or, you know, look at your surroundings, pause. It's a moment that needs to be recognized, or whatever the thing is, if it's a moment or an experience or an opportunity or
could it also be like, ... the universe trying to give you signs and point, like road signs, you know, 5 miles this way,
yeah,
a
but
right
what
turn
if you're
ahead.
The universe?
Huh?
What if you're the universe?
Well, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, at least in my mind, we are. Like, we are, I don't know, the Beatles said it. We are all and all, I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you are everything anyway. And
I know.
Your perception of being separate from is only perception.
Well, perception, you can change that and say awareness. Like the separateness, it's just an awareness that you are an individual, but you're not only that. It's an aspect of you.
I don't know. I think that many of the people listening to the show that have taken psychedelics have had an experience one time or another on psychedelics where that separateness goes away and you realize that you're not separate. It's all one thing. And the only reason you feel like you're yourself is only because how you see things.
Well, because it's temporary. Feelings are temporary. And I believe that about knowledge too. Think about how many things in your life you've learned and how many have you forgotten?
I don't know what.
Exactly. It's infinite. You can't even count the number of things that you've already forgotten, but you knew it. And so back to the Dharma Wheel and the breadcrumbs, these synchronicities, you leave yourself to be like, oh my God, I remember that building. I remember that feeling. I remember that person. I remember that time, that music made, That's what, I don't know. That's what like Ethan and the Dharma Wheel and my journal and all that has to do with everything.
Everything. Wow. I mean, we wasted no time this week. We went right into the pool. We didn't even I'm normally takes me 45 minutes to get in the water.
Well, we just gave them a really long intro before this amazing interview, and now we're doing an outro. So I think that we've warmed them up.
You want to talk about high strangeness and synchronicity and breadcrumbs? We're recording on Sunday night on the 7th of November. Is that what this is?
Yes.
And it's 8:18 p.m. right now, right? At this time last week, the Fish Halloween show was just starting. You were just coming back to the seats with your new t-shirt and poster at this minute, like right now.
Wow. Wow.
Check that out. That's a trip. Yeah, we went and saw Fish in Vegas. And holy smokes, folks. So leading up to the Halloween shows, the Fish Halloween shows, was much ado and speculation and breadcrumbs and hints and
lots of breadcrumbs.
And it was
lots of guesses.
It was all red herring. The whole except on, was it Saturday night when Fish played, they did Harpua, and Trey tells the story in Harpua, and the story that he told that Saturday night, he gave away the entire Halloween gag that they were going to do without giving it away at all. He said exactly what they were going to do, and no one was the wiser.
And then also talked about how much he loves fucking with everybody.
It's the first time I've ever, out of all those raps, heard him say that he was fucking with us. Like literally said, this is me fucking with you. It was,
or is it?
Or
is it not?
Or is it not?
Huh. Don't know. Hi. How are you doing?
We hope you have a good time. So for those of you that don't know, and if you don't, I don't know how you don't, but on Halloween, Fish has a tradition of playing a cover album,
a costume set.
Yeah, musical costume, a second set, and then they do a third set of their own music. And everybody tries to figure out what it's going to be. And, they did a David Bowie album. They did Fleetwood Mac and a few others. And 2019, they made up a fake Norwegian pop band and sang their songs.
They did Disney's Haunted House.
Yeah.
That's one of my
The Haunted Mansion.
favorite.
This year, they created their own full-length comic book with them as the superheroes. And the story in the comic book was an entire new Fish album that they performed on Halloween night. And let me tell you something. I've seen a lot of shit in my life. I've seen tons of concerts. I've seen Kiss live. I've seen Ted Nugent play. I've seen the Grateful Dead. I've seen the great Tool, like the greatest rock and roll spectacles out there. This was on par with any of them. It was so much fun. It was totally mind-blowing, totally fucking groovy, funny as shit. Those guys are the biggest fucking nerds I've ever met, and I love them so much. And it was super fun being there with you guys, man. It was a really special moment for the three of us. I think it was a high point for the No Simple Road crew. And
it's just fantastic going to, because we're all from Vegas. So going back to Vegas, this part of it for me, this is the first time in 5 years of living up here and going back there. I felt like Aaron said it. He goes, "This is where we're from, but Portland's home." And I felt like a tourist. I was super jazzed to be in Vegas. Aaron is the best travel agent ever. He booked us these rooms at the Signature Towers at the MGM, which was just the dopest spot. All we had to do is go down the elevator, walk down a super long, fun hallway where we ran into so many people that we know, and
Magic hallway.
Into the venue. It was amazing.
It really was amazing. Like it could not have been any better. Not at all. And even if we would have stayed at, say, like the Encore and a suite, it wouldn't have been as convenient and fantastic as it was staying at the Signature Suite.
Yeah,
it was
into it.
It was amazing.
I have never stayed in a hotel. Well, this wasn't a hotel room. This was a
condo,
was an Airbnb.
Yeah.
But I've never stayed in a high rise like hotel that was this quiet with an entire Fish concert at it, like
packed into these places.
Yeah. Mel and I were sleeping on Sunday morning. And I was thinking to myself, holy shit, you could hear a pin drop.
And we were a couple miles from the airport. When we first opened the windows, I was like, the fucking airport's right there. Like, you're going to hear not a peep. And then to top it off too, who was there to visit? Jasper. Aaron came over the day after. Was it? Yeah, it was the day after. You're like, you can't hear Jasper? And I was like, no, he was over there, just playing and being loud. I didn't hear a freaking peep in my room.
Sweetheart angel. Oh my God. Jasper gets better with age.
He's so damn funny. He is a riot.
I don't even know the words. I'm so in love with this baby. I cannot wait to see him on his birthday and just celebrate with him. And he's so magical. He made everything better.
Say what you will about me as a grandpa. Going to see. Wait a minute. Let me finish. Okay. Going to see Fish, and being spun the next day, and being with my grandson spun, is one of my favorite memories in life right now. Like his energy and his face and hanging out with him when I was elevated was so much fun and so cool. Like, he is such a bright, radiant human being. Like, there's just nothing but light coming off of that kid.
And he's just a fun time constantly,
and
too.
He's fucking hilarious.
I got to tell you, when we were at breakfast, I got to share that moment with Jasper too. This is the day after the Halloween show, and we go with our good friend Tommy from Colorado.
We love you, Tommy.
To what we call it that day, it was blunch.
It was our overpriced lunch.
Yeah, overpriced. You don't go to Vegas to save money. But we're sitting there, and Mel and Sydney are across from me with Jasper between them. I'm sitting next to Adam. And he disappears under the table, Jasper, and pops up between me and Adam. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's magic. And he looks at me with the straightest face and goes, it's not magic. It's for real. I'm here. Looked at me like you dumbass. It is not. I am here. It's real. And it was the cutest thing. And they kept doing it. And it's just so fun. That added to the magical.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
And seeing Michelle Pietrafetta from Banshee Tree.
Michelle.
And seeing Annabelle. and Jason Gershony and
Jason.
just
Who all those
Oh my
people, including Tommy, we ran into in the magical hallway of dreams.
yeah.
It
Tommy was dressed as a banana and his girlfriend was a monkey. We like walked by him and noticed the costumes, and then
Yeah.
then all of a sudden the banana yells, "Apple, Mel!"
and hey, Annabelle, just so you know you were the Riddler.
Yeah,
So
I knew you were the Riddler
we knew
too.
you were the Riddler.
what's up? What was that?
That was the
Your phone
funniest
did something.
noise.
That was weird. Anyway, yeah, man, Fish Vegas lived up to its hype. And it's
How about
it
this?
started what?
The Brooklyn Bowl.
That's what I was just gonna say. It all started with we landed, we went and got a rent-a-car, went and had lunch with my mom, and then hightailed it to the Brooklyn Bowl to sit in with our Osiris Media family, the Helping Friendly podcast. We podcasted with them from the bar at the Brooklyn Bowl live.
While the kitchen dwellers were warming up in the background, getting ready to take the stage.
Yeah, man, that's how you start
That
a
was-
trip. Like, and that show is Helping Friendly podcast is a big deal, man, in the fish community. And it's an honor to have been on that show.
Absolutely. Just the way RJ welcomed us in, the meeting Drew outside, walking in with him, talking to his beautiful wife who's retired, and
Meeting Jonathan finally from Broke Down
finally
Podcast.
meeting Jonathan
Jonathan's so
and
sweet,
connecting
funny.
with, and it was a beautiful time. I'll remember it forever.
Mhm.
You know,
And one of the things that sticks out in my head the most from that night is I think it was right after the sci-fi soldier set. I look over next to Apple, and Jonathan's just sitting there smiling at me. He just popped up out of the crowd, came and hung out with us and danced for a little while, and then he gets ready to split, and I turn to my right, and who's standing next
Lo
to
and
us?
behold.
Lo and behold, it's RJ hanging out right there. And
I'm dancing over here. I turned to my right, and the energy, like, even if you have your eyes closed, somebody dancing next to you, or you just feel the energy change. Next thing you know, I feel this like high energy, and like, if somebody's like waving their arms around, but on the side, it's like on your peripheral. So I open my eyes, and it's freaking RJ jumping up, dancing, his smile from ear to ear, just looking like jovial. That was the word. Jovial. He looked not even childlike. He looked like he was in his element.
yeah, man. Yes.
And
That's what's fun about seeing him in our element, getting to hang out with people in our element like that.
Yes. And it was it was
Different.
actually my favorite part of the weekend, like one of my favorite parts of the entire weekend.
And I'll say, yes, agreed, 100%.
It's just being over there, smiling, reaching over, giving him a hug, and just the camaraderie
Mhm.
and like linking up like brother and sister and brother and like just family, fish family, like the whole thing.
And man, like somebody that we've been in business with for that long, we've never been to a show together. We didn't know each other like that. And him and I had the best time, like bonding during Lonely Trip and talking, and that song just basically said it all. And he gave us the best compliment, I think. The highest compliment we could have possibly gotten from anybody was him. He said, and this is fucking RJ from Osiris, man. Like, this guy's been around, he's done some shit. And he was like, Aaron, out of the 4-day run of Fish in Vegas, the highlight was dancing with you guys on the last night.
Me too, RJ. Me freaking too. It was magic. Like, that's plain and simple. It was magic. We were feeling it. It was beautiful inside the venue. It was super hot and very crampy. But for those moments when RJ was there, it didn't feel like that. It felt spacious and like
That's true.
there was some airflow and like it felt like we were on a boat listening to Lonely Trip. Like
I'd say when him and Jonathan both came up, there was room for them
Isn't
when
that
there
weird?
wasn't before.
there was room for
I
them.
I
and-
elbowed the poor girl in the eye next to me that was
I
sitting
hit the girl in
down.
front of me in the back of the head like 60 times.
Yeah, and when that
I didn't
Mel
abuse
said
any
it
of my
in the
neighbors.
beginning, that it was so fun going into the show, seeing everybody so excited in their costumes. But like she said, all I gotta say, MGM, you can afford to turn the ACs up, man. Pump that shit. It was hot and stuffy. I had my Santa suit on. Mel was a pirate winch. Aaron was a pirate. Those costumes lasted about
A minute and a
10
half.
minutes after we got in there. Same with a lot of other people. You just had to take the costume off because you wanted to groove. But it was so fun going in costume. I had so many people want to take their pictures. Like, Santa, can I get a picture? I remember the guy's girlfriend came up, took a picture, and he was dressed as a cow. With the udder, and he's like, dude, it'd be cool if I took a picture too. I was like, I would be utterly upset if you did it. And everybody, like, I mean, going into a fish, it's so everybody's all witty and poking jabs and having fun.
Dude, when the first drop of sweat went down my brow, I was like, it might get too hot to wear this pirate jacket. And then the chemicals started kicking in, and I was like, yeah, this fucking costume's gone.
We knew you were going to take it off. We like planned it already. It was already a plan.
I'm glad you guys had a plan for me.
You knew it too.
You were, before the show even started, Mel was like, I'm going to buy a fucking t-shirt. It's too hot in here.
Look,
I can't handle
the
it.
line was out the door around the corner, literally. And I knew that I could not dance freely with that fucking corset on. I mean, it was cute, and I put a lot of energy into that. And me and Aaron made a super sweet, dope patch. But I needed to get the fuck out of that outfit.
You put equal energy into
I was just
changing
gonna
your
say.
costume and putting that patch on your new fish shirt.
Well,
So you guys have to picture this. Lights go down. Mel comes right as the first note is being struck.
I had a whole adventure in that line by myself because it took a lot for me. I was wearing high heels. My boobs were like so underneath my chin, like I was running and it's like trying to weave in and out, and it's like all these people in their groups taking pictures, and I'm trying not to be like, it was
while holding a poster that wasn't rolled up.
I'm talking about just getting to the line.
Oh, okay, getting to
I
the
haven't
line,
even
not getting
come-
back.
She hadn't got shit
I
yet.
hadn't got
shit.
shit yet.
Okay.
And what I didn't know, like a freaking
Rookie.
what? Yes, thank you. Like a rookie. If I would have ran the other way, I would have been immediately at the line. But I went around the entire
Oh shit.
circle
To get to the end of the
to
line.
get to
Oh my
the
God.
end. I didn't realize how close we were to the front of the.
So
Okay, that was no
so
bullshit
Mel
along
disappears
the line.
as the like 15-20 minutes before the show's supposed to start. TikTok, show's getting ready to start. I'm like, where the fuck is Mel? She's gonna miss the beginning of the show.
I felt you, and I texted you.
I know, I saw the text.
he was getting very anxious.
and lights go down. First note gets struck. I'm like, fuck it. I guess she's not gonna make it. And boop, here comes Mel.
Yeah.
So I need you guys to picture this.
Grabbed a poster and the Las Vegas
That's
tee.
dope ass.
The
Mel-
last one.
Mel
of
is
Men's
wearing
Small.
this corset and a skirt and heels, boots, high heel boots. Lights go down. Everybody's losing their fucking mind. MGM Grand Garden Arena sold out. Fish, Halloween night. Everybody stands up. Mel sits down.
Oh yeah.
Off comes the corset. On goes the t-shirt. I don't need, without anybody seeing anything. There's a patch, safety pin.
Okay, first of
wait
all-
a minute. There's a
okay.
patch, safety pin to the back of the corset, right? Like 20 safety pins in a square around the back of
9.
this patch. Okay. 9. Sorry. I was
Aaron
11
math.
off.
I'm just giving them the right
Magically,
idea.
at some point during taking the corset off, putting on the t-shirt, tying it in a knot, the patch was safety pinned to the back of the shirt somehow.
You guys, sit down, everybody out there. I had this tight corset. It had about like 25 very tiny little bra hooks right in the front. So I had to, I put the t-shirt on and I undid the corset underneath my t-shirt. And then I put one arm into my t-shirt like I was going to take it off and unhooked my corset sleeve and then put my arm back through and then repeat it on the other side.
All while coming on to enough chemicals to drop a horse into a well.
That's very true. And so, and then I slipped that off. I turned my t-shirt backwards and I undid every single safety pin from the corset.
In the dark,
from the patch. Yeah, they're safety pins. So I got a few little sticks on my fingers. So what? Anyway, so I took that off and then I had my shirt on backwards. So I safety pinned it to the front of my backwards shirt. And then when I was done,
part I witnessed. You encouraged me to, because you're like, you need to get rid of the Santa pants, because I was wearing them over Levi, and that's when I sat. I was like, okay, if she can do that, I can get these fucking stupid pants off.
So here I am, twisted my shirt around, tied it in a knot, sat down, and realized, hell no, these pantyhose can't stay on. So I had shorts on underneath. I took my shorts off, took my pantyhose off. Wait, I had to take off. I unzipped each one of my high heel boots that were up to my knees, took those off, and took all the pantyhose, all the shorts off, put the shorts back on.
So you
put my boots back on. Then it was one of those skirts that was long in the back and short in the front. I took the back of the skirt and tucked it into the front and created shorts.
So
out of
lacy shorts
with my boots and my new t-shirt, and I was ready to dance.
Check
I was
this
ready
out.
for fish after that.
So you got to think about this from Aaron's perspective, okay? Mel pops up like a fucking bouncing bunny with all this shit, new t-shirt, poster, fish getting started.
Poster's not even rolled up because the ink was so fresh.
Right.
I told her not to roll it yet.
I was running with the poster like a kite. It was like through the crowd, trying not to
smear it.
1, hit anybody, 2, smear it, 3, drop it, 4, try to find where I am. Like, where the fuck am I?
So Mel pops up. We're all coming on hard.
But not me.
I see her. Well, I see her. She sits down next to me and starts disrobing. I turn around to dance to fish for like 8 seconds. Turn back around. She's got a different costume on. I was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, bling, bling, bling. Like, what happened? That was almost as good as fish disappearing off the stage.
Well, then it was hilarious too, because then the whole night there's a pile of Santa Claus and 2 pirate costumes, like all wadded up, and it kept falling on the ground. I got to get Santa's suit dry cleaned because it laid on the ground at the MGM, which was a sticky floor.
It was pretty impressive, if I do say so myself. I have lots of practice of having to dress quickly because I used to do those promo things, like with the promo model at the convention center. We would have to like change our outfits or go and run into the bathroom, and so I would have to just lock, really quick. But that was an experience. It was like part of my show, and it was Fish Las Vegas.
It was dope.
It was
probably one of the happiest faces I've seen Mel have in 23 years of knowing you. When you got done and you had your skirt, when you had the whole thing all put back together, you're just sitting there, you're just sitting back in the chair like, yeah, now it's fucking go time.
It's on, bitches.
Like, now I'm comfortable. And you looked so comfortable at that point.
I had my pirate, like, kind of like,
bandana.
The bandana around my head. I even turned that around so I could have the hair off of my neck and tied it in the front, kind of like, the old school, like, greasers, And then if I knew the set list, I would remember what song I finished, but then it was like ready. It was like Trey gave me one song to get ready. And because I was
Roses are free.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. They started with Buried Alive, went into Roses Are Free, and then they went into a 26-minute Ghost.
That's when I really was done. That when Ghost
started.
So
it took you about 8 minutes to get straightened out because it was 3.5 minute song and a 5 minute song.
It was Ghost.
Aaron took no time to get straightened out. You were dancing from the first note, and I don't think stopped.
I didn't stop. I could have done a fourth set.
And that 3 set, what was it? It was from 8:18 till after 1:30
1 in the morning.
Yeah.
Kid, let's do it again. I'm ready right now. Let's go.
It was that was an amazing experience. I can't even just say the show. I think the entire experience of, again, those synchronicities, seeing Michelle and Jason and Tommy in that hallway and Annabelle, and having Jasper there, and going to lunch with your mom and your sister, and Ryder happened to be in town too. And it was...
and yeah, family was had. I got to see my dad and my nephew. We cooked a great meal together and had some fun.
And, you know, there's a lot of Fish and Grateful Dead communities are notorious for being fantastic critics. And there's a lot of criticism for this year's Fish musical costume. But I'll say this.
Is it a criticism or an opinion?
It's criticism and opinions and whatever. That's fine. But it's like trying to explain to somebody that never went to a Dead show or a Fish show what Fish or the Dead is like. You needed to be there, first of all. They took us on a fucking ride. And there were moments in the Sci-Fi Soldier set where I was so high and the music was so fucking intense and different than what we know from them that I had to remind myself a couple of times that I've done this before. Like I had to literally like sit myself down and go, you're okay. Everything's cool. You know that you're going to come out the other side of this. You're just really high right now. And it wasn't because any of the, like, there was nothing happening around me. It was all the music causing the upheaval. There was a couple of songs in the set that I want to call out. The first one was the Clear Your Mind song. That was so fucking awesome. Like, if you go back and listen, if you have the live Fish app and you go back and listen to this whole Sci-Fi Soldier thing is a lesson in how to get down, how to get more down. And it really is a instruction manual on how to fucking boogie to your fullest. And that's when I started like realizing what they were doing. I was like, oh shit, this is like, we're having a teachable moment here in Fish.
Well, the genius of what they did, this is what made me buy the poster. When we got those comic books and before I decided I was going to get a t-shirt before I was reading the comic book, it was ingenious that they were putting this information into our head, if you chose to read it, that is. And then by second set, it was digested and we're now singing along to a brand new song that we've never heard, but because we read it on that comic book. It was the ultimate participation from them to us and us to them.
Yeah. And so they, you know, this Clear Your Mind, you go through the lesson of Clear Your Mind, you reach the 9th cube and the inner reaches of the outer. And then they go into Don't Doubt Me. And that was when things started getting fucking weird. And then my favorite song in that set was The Unwinding. And it was like everything had been so intense during that part of the set. And I had those moments where I had to sit myself down, and then they started singing The Unwinding, and it was like they were letting me reel myself back out.
It was an actual unwinding.
I was actually unwinding.
It felt like a warm shower with just enough pressure, not too hard, just kind of enough like soothing. If that's what it reminded, like it made me feel. It felt like relaxed and soothed and rocked. And
that build up to before the unwinding too. I remember that I was saying it to the other night to you guys. There's a point, I don't know if you remember the movie Logan's Run.
Yeah.
Where they all went into that, like, it was the dome thing where they went and they were like floating.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. I like envisioned that. I envisioned it with my eyes closed and then glancing at the stage when I felt like I was off the ground and floating and like watching this sci-fi thing happen in front of me.
Wow.
It like took me into like memories of childhood. I felt like a kid. It was Halloween. What was going on like made me feel so youthful and just like age, time, nothing fucking existed.
Yeah,
except for what was happening there, and I was levitating and floating.
You were in the year 4068. That's why. And then they ended this thing with I'm in Miami. And after all that intense, like, you know, you're being downloaded by fish. And then the four of them walk up to the mics with an acoustic guitar and sing some silly ass shit. Acapella awesomeness that just like brought levity back into the moment.
You know what it reminded me of?
What?
Deportment. Like when, you know, doing the during massage.
You have to tell them what deportment is. They don't know.
Finger tapping, you know, so like when you get a massage or a facial, you know, it's like the pads of your fingers doing like a wave-like motion on a certain surface, and it kind of like perks things up, wakes things up, brings circulation. It feels kind of cute, like little kitties like pressing on your face.
That does sound cute.
Right?
Little kitties tapping
like
on your face.
They're little pads. They're well, not with their nails, but you know, they're just little pinky pads. But anyway, this experience of Fish Halloween, I had like all these experiences. One of them was feeling like I was like part of the Fish family for real. Aww. And that happened at the Brooklyn Bowl with Drew and RJ and Jonathan and everybody else that was there.
Who was it? Matt and Brian.
Okay, Matt and Brian. Sorry, guys. But like, they're talking about these experiences. Like Jonathan was talking about experience from like 94 and 97, and 94 and 97. I was nowhere near.
We got married in 97.
Yeah, nowhere near that scene. It wasn't in my radar, and so all these guys that have been into this for so long, and here I am, like, you know, a few years deep, and we're speaking the same language, and I'm understanding, and now I'm even interested.
And you're on the stage.
I'm on the stage. I'm all like part of it. That's what I'm saying, that I was not only accepted, I was like part of it. And it was a realization for me, and talking to RJ and letting him know that what he's doing is not just for himself. Like he's feeding all these huge people, these people with this huge tree that he's built.
RJ.
What is that?
That was huge people.
Okay. I was like, what?
Huge trees feeding all these people with this huge tree that he's built is what I was trying to say and meant to say. And there was like some really awesome moments of like realization that I had. And that was even before we went to the show. We hadn't even gotten to the show yet.
Mm-hmm.
Being back in Vegas and being with our kids and having breakfast with your mom, it was like something familiar, but it was brand new. It was like the new version of it, the new generation.
It's
like,
the new version of the old scene.
It's, yeah, like we are our parents, and then Sydney and Simon, and, you know, they are us, and Jasper's like our, like, it just kind of tripped me out. All of these like beginnings and endings is what I was feeling.
Yeah.
Lots of like, you know.
And it was the end of tour.
It was the last show of tour, you know. There was a lot of, you know, feelings around Vegas.
So what's the lesson we learned this tour?
The lesson we learned is always book the full tour.
Right. Book the run.
Book the run.
Always book the run.
The run.
Okay.
All right.
So what I learned from it is to wear the most minimal costume possible. I said next show,
Chippendales
I'm going
dancer.
to gold member. with the nice gold sparkly banana hammock, and that's
I'm going
about
as Greg Louganis.
Yeah, like a swimmer or something.
Speedo and a head
Yeah,
cap.
you want to be very light on the costume and be comfortable and ready to boogie.
Man, you know, there's a lot of feeling. I don't. We've never talked about this as a group. Like, having done, what do we end up doing? Did we do 12 shows or 8 shows?
I think it was 8, but
okay.
You know.
Yeah, because I did 6.
Okay, yeah, it was 8.
I didn't go to Hershey or.
But you didn't also go to San
Francisco.
It might be 9.
Hershey and San
Francisco.
Francisco.
We went to
we
3
did
shows.
the amount of shows we did.
More.
After doing more than
Just
one
hash that
show,
down.
And like going through summer and fall tour and having a lot of the shows be out here on the West Coast and a bunch in the Pacific Northwest. When tour ended, it was bittersweet. I was really grateful that we got the opportunity to do all the shows that we got to do this year and to get to know Fish as deeper than we already did. But it was a little bit sad too, like that it was an ending. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I know what you mean, but I felt satisfied. I was
satisfied. I totally.
And every ending's a new beginning.
Yeah, I don't feel like that. I don't get sad after something happy happens. I don't. I like to keep, like, it's like sucking on a Jolly Rancher or biting it and eating it right away.
Yeah, you know I always bite that shit.
Exactly. And then you're sad that mine's been in there for like a half an hour. I'm still got that juice and I'm like excited
like,
about
let me get
it.
some of yours. You're like, no,
I like to savor my good experience instead of cut it short with sadness.
Well, I was at the show totally stoked. I'm talking about a couple days after.
I'm talking about the week, the day, the month, the whole thing. It's like, fuck, yeah, we went there.
Yeah,
instead of like,
true.
Man,
it's like another funky ass, cool ass feather in your hat. Like,
yes,
yeah, I'm rocking that shit.
Yeah, you are.
And that's just the end of the fall. You know, there's more shit to come.
Is there?
Next year? Yeah,
really?
Yeah, I don't think those
They're
guys
gonna
are
keep
done.
going?
I don't think they're done by any means.
But then, how about that Carini third set opener?
Oh, dude, silence. Well, you can't even say anything.
That was the coolest ever. After a set break, then the show, then the set break, and that sci-fi show that was 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
that was long.
That's
awesome.
That's any other band's
and then a nice
entire
break,
concert.
and then it's like, and then here comes the third set at like midnight. It was like holy shit, and then to kick it off with that Greenie, it
was
like,
dope.
It was great.
The fuck crowd is just insane. And that was funny, like you're talking about booking the full run and stuff. It's funny to have been there because we just went to Sunday night, so we were fresh. We were ready for Sunday night. Watching the people that had been there where it was their fourth night.
Saw
the
that
couple
dude
sitting
hold
next to
himself
us,
up, looking like he was going to pee on the wall.
Yeah, and the one sitting next to us, they were young, probably early 20s, and I finally asked, I was like, you guys, because they kept trying to stand up, but then ended up just sitting down again. And they're like, man, this is our fourth day. We thought we were young enough to handle this. It's like drugs. Nothing's even doing anything anymore. But we're having fun. They're like, but we are having fun.
You just can't
They were
tell.
like grooving in their chairs. And we're like, this was, man, it's a hell of a run.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't, you find out what you're made of in 4 days.
I think we did the right thing because it was Vegas.
Yes.
That's
Agreed.
why. That's what I think. I think we did the perfect thing. We learned our lesson. If it's not in Vegas, then book the run. But if it's in Vegas, you book the favorite night, and then you just keep going.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. When you've lived in Vegas for 30 years.
No, I just think it's because of how we all feel about it, and we all have that agreement. Like, yeah, this was plenty of time.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
And we had the day after the show. The travel agent booked an extra day for all of us to recover in the hotel room the day after, so we had that whole day.
Fantastic.
And it was a really nice dinner, Apple. That was cool that you took us out to dinner that night.
Well, I was gonna say, you guys know me. That's one thing I don't mind spending a lot. I'll spend more money on a dinner than I would go into more shows and shit. Sometimes I wanted that experience of having a good dinner in Vegas.
It was cool.
And like we said, you don't go to Vegas to save money.
No, you do not.
You do not.
Where we go? Well, we went to Wolfgang
Pucks. Yeah. So. Yeah, next year, Fish Vegas, or I guess it won't be next year, but whenever it happens again, look for us there. We'll be there for sure.
It's Fish, dude. They could do Halloween in February. We don't know what they're up to.
No, we don't.
Crazy stuff
with
nowadays.
To all year until.
And I go back up to something you said too, because we hear people and it's funny. At least there's something out there to criticize or enjoy or whatever. But we just did an interview earlier with the band, and Jasper, the drummer, said something about that. He's like, well, it's a whole lot better than the one that didn't happen.
Oh shit!
You know what? If you're gonna get down on things, just remember that could have not happened. There could have been no Halloween show. So enjoy what we got, whether you were into it or not.
I also want to give Jason a shout out. Jason, thank you so much for the text that you sent me. He, after last week's, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago now, but my recap about Eugene, he had sent me his account of his turn on, like the moment he sold his soul to fish was July 17th, 20. Ooh, I can't remember what year, but
20.
Yeah, some year. And that was the opener of the second set.
2001.
Maybe 2001.
No, the song 2001.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, 2001. I thought I said that. And he sent it to me, and it's 13 minutes in, but you have to get to it. And it's just stuff like that. It made me feel like so welcome. Like, what? He's sending me this so that I could, like, hear his moment with that song. And it just, that likeness, that you can do that. Or like, it got my memory, it got my mind thinking in ways that I had never thought before about music and about fish and about research and about
stats,
just everything. It got me thinking differently. And I just want to say a shout out to Jason, and I love you, and thanks for bringing me into the fold.
I thought of something today that about 2001. I ran today, and while I was running, I was listening back to the Eugene shows. And I put on the 2001, and there's a feeling that's attached to that song that you'll know what I'm talking about if you've had that experience with that song and that band. Like Mel knows what I'm talking about, Apple knows what I'm talking about. Just there's something special in
Darwin knows what you're talking about.
He just went yeah, me too, man. But I was thinking, like, is it us? Is that feeling us? Is that me locking into a certain frequency? Or is that the band and I'm reacting to the band? Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, but you can't separate those things.
Yeah, it's both.
It's like a little of this, a little of that, a little of where you're at, a little of your neighbor, a little bit of what you're wearing, a little bit of what you're hearing, a little bit of it's all of it.
If there was not that song from the band, you would have nothing to react to.
I get that. I get that, but I'm saying, like, there's moments when we all feel it together at the exact same time, and it hits us all at the same time. And we'll talk about it after the show. Yeah, that moment. And I wonder if that's us locking into each other more than the music, because it's happening for us all simultaneously.
And for the band as well. I think it's locking in together in a perfect circle.
Like,
okay.
With
think
the
about
band and everything.
A dog whistle,
What?
Like when you hear, like if they hear a certain frequency, they respond to it. Like it makes them do something. And so when they play in these certain tones or these certain ways or the certain repetition, it makes us do something.
Yeah, I couldn't.
I like that. That's a good analogy. I like that. That like 2001 and like first tube is like Fish's dog whistle.
Whistles.
Yeah.
They
like,
pull that
for
shit
me,
out and everybody's like,
yeah, it's like the funkier the fish and the grimier the fish. That's my favorite fish. Dirty fish.
Mel likes dirty
bottom
fish.
feeders.
Yeah, dirty, yeah. That's what I was going to say, dirty bottom feeding rockfish. Those gnarly looking anglers.
So if you guys have any suggestions of the dirtiest and the grimiest, dunkiest fish you got, send it to me.
Oh shit.
Send it to
now.
NSR.
Send that to Sally and the alley.
There's my new email.
Wow.
No shit. Yeah, so that happened. And then we came home.
And have been recuperated. I was going to say that's pretty much, I mean, instead of like the how was your week? The rest of the week after we got back was just kind of getting back into the groove and
I was straight up in a fucking daze.
I was in a fucking daze too.
I was in a daze deep. Like I felt like I couldn't close my mouth or open my eyes.
And like Tony Soprano.
And the whole week, the world was doing that thing where it shifts like 2 feet under you all of a sudden. Just fucking.
I don't know what that is, dude.
Yeah.
Brain fucking tremors. Yeah. Anyway, me too. Yeah.
It's Russian collusion.
It's sunspots.
I don't know.
Me either.
Yeah, solar flares are happening.
That's what it is. It's pulling on the magnetic field that surrounds
There's
my
a lot.
brain.
There's a lot
Basically,
Crystals in my ears.
I'm grateful that we've had the opportunity to have those 9 experiences, however many shows we went to see. And I look forward to more. And I'm excited about your birthday month.
I am too.
Happy birthday month, baby.
Happy
Thanks.
birthday month.
I'm
Thank
Well,
excited.
you know what's really cool about you two guys?
What? Our hair.
You saw enough shows of this tour to not know how many you saw exactly.
Ooh.
That's pretty good. I just
Take
put it
that.
at that.
High five,
If you
babe.
cannot nail down exactly how many, then you saw a good amount.
That's true, man.
Man. Thanks for
I
putting
saw
it
it
into
again.
perspective, Apple. It's true.
You're like
We've
8,
got-
11, 14. I don't know.
During a time, especially like this time last year, the dynamic change that has happened from what we were doing then to what we're doing now, I am so grateful and blessed.
Mhm.
And it's a total 180 and something that it's a freaking miracle.
Yeah, man. Seeing all those people in the MGM Grand was beautiful. And I don't care if it was hot. It was so much fun.
Oh, no.
And Eugene was fucking amazing.
Oh,
And the Gorge
Eugene
was
was-
amazing. And Hershey and San
Ugh.
Fran and all
How
of
do
it.
Do you know what it is? I feel like I can't get a photo album big enough to express how many memories that like I want to hang on to
Yeah. It's
from just this past few months of all those shows.
it's beautiful.
It's like I want to remember them, but there's so much to remember.
Each show is a lifetime of
Each show could be a book.
learning and experience and
Yeah.
sensory overload and musical wonder.
And I want to
then-
figure out a way to be able to scale that down.
I know what we can do.
What?
Let's start a podcast. And we'll talk about our experiences every week.
And then we could just go back.
And then we could go back and listen to it later. What do you think?
That's
Solid plan,
it's
right?
Probably a good idea.
I think it's
we
solid.
should start that.
Jesus. Yeah.
Wow.
So, as Mel just said, it's my birthday month. That's
Yeah,
right.
babe. Say a few words about feeling 50.
I don't know, man. I'm not 50 yet. That's first. Second, I haven't fully wrapped my head around the implications of turning 50. I haven't decided if it doesn't mean a fucking thing or it's a really huge deal.
It's a little of both.
I'm completely split down the middle on where I stand with it. Age is just a number, but it's also not, because this fucking meat suit that I live in is 50 years old.
You will be getting your AARP letter pretty soon in the mail. I can tell you that much, sir, being 52.
So it's a big deal in that it's a milestone birthday. It's a big deal in that I never in a million years thought I would be here for this one. It's a huge deal because I'm a grandpa. And as I was telling you earlier, like when I was younger in my 20s, a 50-year-old to me was an old dude. And now I'm that old dude that's 50. But I don't feel like an old guy. My body doesn't feel old.
So can't you just wrap your head around that was a lie and just pick up a new belief?
Sure. Great.
Yeah,
but I'm
just don't
still
think
turning
about it
50.
too
And
much.
I don't know how I feel yet. I'll let you know on November 23rd, the day after my birthday.
It's unwinding.
It's unwinding. Yes, it is. But the reason I said it about my birthday month is on November the 18th, Green Sky Bluegrass is playing the Crystal Ballroom with Holly Bowling. Woo! Let me say that again. Green Sky
Burner.
Bluegrass and Holly Bowling are playing the Crystal Ballroom here in Portland, Oregon. And it just so happens that that's where we're throwing my birthday celebration. So if any of you, well, not if, all of you that are listening to the sound of my voice right now, if you want to come hang out and celebrate my birthday with me, my 50th birthday, that'd be super cool. Come buy some tickets to go see Green Sky and we'll all hang out together. That would be super fun.
On the super bouncy dance floor at
Mhm.
Crystal Ballroom. The
Just some
show's going to be
bitchin' music.
amazing.
Yeah. Green Sky with Holly is next level Green Sky with
Yeah.
Holly. So, I mean, that Red Rock show was something else.
Mm-hmm. I listened to that again the other night.
It's so hard to describe the feeling that Holly's. It's like, you know how something can haunt you, but not necessarily like in a bad way. It's not scary, but it like,
It's like ethereal.
yeah,
And
it like
spooky
comes
and-
on you.
That's a perfect word.
Yeah, like, you know, when you go into a forest and you like feel like there's
And
like
it makes
an
you feel like
owl.
a kid, like cool.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh.
Kind of spooky and ethereal and mysterious and kind of like strong. Yeah, spooktherial.
That's Holly Bowling. I love it. That's a perfect word.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys, if you can, even if you can't, quit your job, buy a bus, just get here, be here on the 18th.
And if you're already here and you're like, I don't know.
Well, they're doing a little.
I don't know if I could make it to the Crystal Ballroom that weekend. I got work on Monday.
No,
Look,
it's actually
man,
you got work on Friday because it's on a Thursday.
Aaron only turns 50 once. That's all I'm saying. And it just so happens that Green Sky's playing right around my birthday. So I would really love to hang out with all of you and have you there with me for that night. So if you can swing it, you're invited. Come hang out.
That reminds me too. I need to put it in for that Friday off.
Oh, yeah. I know I did. I'm going to be not in any shape to be
Can't do that.
doing cable stuff that day. Anyway, you guys ready to get out of here?
I'm ready to go to bed.
All right.
Yeah,
Y'all,
Mel's got to hop on a jet plane tomorrow.
4 a.m. I got to be
Jesus
at work.
Christ. All right. Y'all, hey, we love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us and listening to the conversation with Ethan and our rap about fish and, you know, all of it. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. And remember to follow No Simple Road on all the social media platforms at No Simple Road. Go to patreon.com/No Simple Road and give $1 a month, man. It's a quarter a show. We do 4 shows a month. I mean, it's the least you could do. I'm just saying, you know, I'm not trying
Be
to
like
put any
Joey
guilt trip on
B.
you.
Something.
But yeah. And also, you know, when you're out there in the world, make sure you tell a friend about the show because Grassroots, Mycelial Network, No Simple
They'll
Road.
tell a friend. They'll tell a friend.
Pretty soon we'll all be.
And tell your cool uncle.
Yeah. Can you imagine if just the No Simple Road family sold out the Crystal Ballroom with Green Sky? How dope that would be. Come on.
That would
think
be the
about it.
dopest dope.
That would be. So that and anything else, Mel, that you can think of?
No, I'm thinking of going to bed.
You're thinking of little sheep. And
Yeah. I just want to say
Sound
thank
like
you for
Beaver.
being with us through this whole entire beautiful conversation and listening to us rant and be excited about fish and talk about our weeks. And I appreciate the time that we get to spend in your ear holes.
Yeah. And I hope
I
there's
do.
love and light coming out of your ear holes like our review
we're
this week.
we're putting it in there. We're putting love in there. And sometimes it's long-winded love, but it's love nonetheless.
Yep. So we'll be back next week with more stuff
Doesn't
and
like
things.
long-winded.
And remember to smile at a stranger and safety third, hydrate, and make sure you bring a water bottle with you when you go out the house so you have something to drink. And, you know, pet a dog.
Smile. It's the holidays. The holidays are upon us.
Spelled Holidaze. All right, you guys. We love you. We'll be back next week. Peace. Peace.
Like twisting, turn the mission, turning it's a journey. Wish the word is many problems, but it's a burden. Family needs has been deferred, and hell it means been the earth, and alchemy can bring the birth, the melody of a new born. So persistent, so resistant, so insistent, so commitment, so resilient, or haven't you learned it? No simple road. 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 My windshield is shattered as I focus through the spot in the corner that is still intact. The react is both of the fence we may think. But it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A equal A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
Hey listeners, I want to tell you about the April-May 2023 issue of Relics magazine. Features a Dave Matthews Band cover story with additional articles and interviews with The National, Graham Nash, Wayne Shorter, ALO, Ivan Neville, our friend Eric Krasno and Stanton Moore, Marty Stewart, and much more. Check out the latest version of Relics and subscribe now at relics.com/DMB. Thanks, Relics.
Hi, this is Henry Kay, host of the #1 music history podcast, Rootsland. Come with me on a journey to Kingston, Jamaica, where we explore the world of reggae music and the untold stories of some of the genre's greatest legends. From the ghettos and tenement yards where the music was born, to the island's iconic recording studios. We are so excited to team up with Osiris Media, the leading storyteller in music, because as you'll hear, sometimes the story is the best song.